Good morning, everybody. It's Labor Day. Thank you for joining us. If you have the day off today, thank a union worker. And please touch some grass if it's a holiday. Thank you all for being here. We know you have many, many choices to make every single morning. And we are always so very grateful that you choose to spend some time with us. I really appreciate it. Please consider contributing to our gifting goal today. We are crowdfunded here. You want to support the channel? You can do so at Factsstillmatter, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. Please consider subscribing. We are working towards our new subscriber count. If we hit that target, we will do a giveaway from an item from the merch store. We'll do that this coming Friday. Speaking of the merch store, if you go to factsstillmatter.site, or if you go to the link tree that's in my bio, look for Facts HQ. And then you can just go and shop for some merch. There's some really cool stuff in there, including everyone's favorite, I am fucking Zen. So yes, I am fucking Zen. Again, thank you for being here. And by the way, speaking of our Discord, speaking of our Discord, please join that. If you joined us on Friday night, we did the soundtrack of our lives from Facts After Dark. And we managed to, thank you to one of y'all and to Sam, one of our mods, we've compiled the playlist from that. So you can find that. It's a Spotify playlist. You can find that in the general chat and our Discord. So please, 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 please consider joining us there. So I did mention that it is Labor Day today. And I was just curious the history of Labor Day. So here it is. Origins, late 1800s. As industrialization boomed, U.S. unions and labor councils began staging parades and picnics to push for the 8-hour workday, safer workplaces, and fair pay. We all have those things because of union workers. Okay? Because of union workers. The first Labor Day parade took place in New York City on September 5th, 1882. Okay, we got our daily. That's nice. Okay. Everybody keep tapping like crazy. We got our daily restriction. It's kind of a habit. So please consider tapping like crazy, gifting. You got a rose, whatever it might be. Please consider doing that. Okay. The first Labor Day parade took place in New York City on September 5th, 1882, organized by the Central Labor Union. Credit for the idea is usually given to either Peter J. McGuire, United Brotherhood of Carpenters, or Matthew Maguire, a New York machinist. Historians still debate which Maguire or Maguire proposed it. States adopted it. Celebrations spread quickly. Oregon became the first state to make Labor Day an official holiday in 1887, followed that year by Colorado, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New York. Many others joined in the early 1890s. It became a federal holiday in 1894 after the violent Pullman strike of 1894, a national railroad strike marked by deadly crashes when federal troops deadly clashes. When federal troops were deployed, President Grover Cleveland and Congress moved to conciliate labor. On June 28, 1894, Congress established Labor Day as a federal holiday on the first Monday in September. Why September and not May, you ask? Well, many countries mark International Workers' Day on May 1st. They tied that to the 1886 Haymarket events in Chicago. U.S. leaders chose September partly because American unions already celebrated then, and partly to distance themselves from the holiday. And partly to distance the holiday from May Day, which was a more radical association of the era. Traditions and meanings. Historically, Labor Day featured union parades, speeches, and picnics, celebrating workers' contributions and pushing reform like the 8-hour day, limits on child labor. Keep that in mind when MAGA wants to reemploy your kids. And the idea of a weekend. Over time, it also became the cultural marker for the end of summer, sadly, with sales, barbecues, and the start of school and fall sports. Today, Labor Day remains a civic nod to working people and the labor movement's legacy, even as the nature of work, including services, tech, gig work, for example, and union density have changed. Many communities still hold parades or labor breakfasts, and politicians often use the day to outline workplace and economic policy priorities. So, the protections that you guys have at work, again, the 40-hour work week, OSHA, protections for laborers, making sure that there's fair labor practices, creations of things like the National Labor Relations Board, which the Trump administration wants to do away with. These are all things that you can thank union members for. So if you are a union member, thank you guys. Thank you. If you are a union member, thank you for what you do. And I would encourage you, if in the work that you do, if there is a union, please consider joining it, because we all get to enjoy weekends, 40-hour work weeks, and the protections in the workplace because of unions. So thank you all very, very much for that. All right. Again, it is a And as a Monday, it is the first Monday in September. Just as a side note, when Congress returns in session at the end of this month, September 30th marks the end of the federal government's budget, which means they're going to need to pass a spending bill to keep the government open. I don't know where that's going to go. I don't expect. I really will not be happy with another strongly worded letter from Chuck Schumer. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that. I don't know exactly how that's going to play out, but I'll be incredibly disappointed. Never mind disappointed, incredibly angry if we get Democratic support. Because from my perspective at this point, burn the fucking shit. Burn it. Let them, they have to own it because they're the majority party. All right. I want to tell you about a little, and it is my birthday. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all very, very much. Thanks, guys. You're very kind. Thank you very, very much. I'm 29 times 2. Thank you very much for being here on Celebrate My Birthday, 29th birthday times 2 with me today. I appreciate it. Okay. So over the weekend, like I've mentioned to you guys, I go into live spaces on the right, so you don't have to. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. So I spent some time in some MAGA Lives over the weekend. I had the pleasure of being in there with RJ. Jen joined. Linda joined. Had some mutuals. At one point, I was on a panel by myself, which I'm totally fine with. I can handle it. But as is always the case, right? When you have a group of people who do not, how can I say this? Don't necessarily appreciate factual information. And I have a bit of a new strategy, okay? It's kind of interesting. I never really thought about this before. I'll give them their argument. So we were talking about all kinds of things, and I want to really share with you a couple of really interesting moments, which kind of speaks to our topic for today. Everybody, please keep tapping and sharing. We should be way above 500 in the live by now, so please keep tapping and sharing. Anyway, one particular exchange. An example, when somebody said, we were talking about criminality and we were talking about pardons, and oftentimes when they ask a question, because we're not loyal to our politicians, they work for us. I don't think they expect some of the responses that they get. So they ask me, like, you care so much about this? How do you feel about Joe Biden pardoning Hunter? I'm like, I think it was bullshit. I think it was complete bullshit that he did that. And so what are they going to say to that? There's not much that they can say when you, thank you. There's not much that they can say when you address it directly. So they're kind of like scrambling. And then I will just then take that opportunity to say, so then how do you feel about President Trump pardoning people who beat up cops? And they don't really have much to say in that regard. So there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of yelling and screaming. Some of my favorite highlights from the weekend were this. Again, I did pretty well. I'll just put it that way, humbly speaking. We were debating the cases in New York. We were debating the convictions, the 34 count felony convictions, and we were also debating the civil liability in the E. Jean Carroll case. And the host said, "I'm going to bring up an expert. She's going to cook you." And I'm like, "Okay, great." So they brought up their expert, and the expert immediately jumps in. She's like, "I've just been listening to you. You are spewing facts. I'm about to school you, boy," was what her quote. And I'm like, "Okay, how's this going to go?" So first, she started saying that there's no evidence in the E. Jean case. I said, "What do you mean there's no evidence?" She said, "'Cause there's no evidence." I said, "What would that evidence look like?" And she said, "Well, the dress was manufactured after. We've heard that lie." Right? I said, "Do you have proof of that?" And of course they don't. So then we went to the source. We pulled it up. We realized that she was lying. And I presented that. I shared it. We talked about it. They wouldn't acknowledge that. Then they said, well, he couldn't get a fair trial. And then I asked the question. I said, well, he has to be tried where he convicted the crime or alleged to have convicted the crime. I said, "Are you familiar with the Sixth Amendment?" And they weren't really familiar with the Sixth Amendment. And then I asked the question. I said, "So are you saying that he couldn't get a fair trial in New York?" And they're saying yes. I said, "Could he get a fair trial in deepest, darkest Alabama or the deepest, darkest Kentucky or the reddest county imaginable?" And they couldn't answer. One guy jumped in and said, you can't get a fair trial in politics. And I tried to take the conversation in a different direction. I said, okay, could Joe Biden get a fair trial in the reddest county in America? And their response was, yeah, he could. And I'm like, okay, that's good to know, because I agree. Because if we have a judicial system and we have to trust the process, then if you commit the crime or alleged to have committed the crime or the civil infraction or whatever it might be, then you are subjected to the rules of our Constitution. The Sixth Amendment requires you to be tried where the crime was committed. Now, there can be some venue changes and things like that, but by and large, that's the case. So it was a really interesting exercise because their expert didn't even have the facts. And then I'm not even going to give this gentleman's name because he's an absolute, just despicable human being. He said, and then he jumped in yelling and screaming. He said, well, there's no predicate crime. There's no predicate crime in a 34-count felony conviction. I said, okay, so here's an exercise for you. All right, you ready? Here's the exercise. The exercise is this. You say there isn't, I say there is. How do we break the tie? He's like, well, you're just going to go to thank you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. So what are you guys going to do? What are you going to do? Just go to your CNN news source? I said, no, I'm asking you. How do you break the tie? And I'm sharing this with you guys because I think it's got another restriction. Guys, can you please do me a solid and keep tapping like crazy? So I said specifically, I said, how do we break the tie? How would you like us to break the tie? Should we go to the court records? He's like, well, the judge, those were not in the jury's instructions. I said, okay, so let's go to the jury's instructions then. How about that? Would that work? And I kept asking questions. I finally got him to lament, to say, yeah, I guess we'll go to the jury instructions. So I literally went to the jury instructions, and it provided details of what was required. New York election law was the predicate crime. The jury did not have to unanimously agree as to what method he used to circumvent the law, as long as they unanimously agreed that he did. Again, sharing that information, reading it from the court records, reading it from the judge's ruling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That still wasn't enough. So they're experts, right? The best moment of the weekend, because it was a rainy day Saturday, it was crazy around here. The best moment of the weekend, and I just saw Anachronista, she was there. We had a gentleman trying to make the argument that because we were talking about crime, I kept bringing up the crime statistics, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more this morning. We kept talking about the crime statistics, and I said, well, the overwhelming incidences of violent crime are committed in states that have, the most lax firearms laws. They're always in red states. And he said, well, that's because of gangs. And I said, okay, like the Alabama gangs. And I said, okay, how about this? What if we just remove the large cities? And he wouldn't accept that either. Jen was in there. Jen was part of that party this weekend. She knows what I'm talking about. And it came around to, he was trying to make the argument for black on black crime because his racism was showing. The ultimate, I have never seen a better self-own in my life, because this gentleman went to look for stats. Okay. And the argument that he made was that black individuals in our country commit more crimes, right? That was his argument. He came back with statistics, and he flashed it on the screen, and he thought he had a moment because on his chart, it had H rates of numerical, not the rate, the numerical of black people versus white people. And there were more black people in his chart than whites. Sadly, I'm not going to say in his defense, but sadly, his own chart at the top said victims of crime. Victims, not perpetrators, victims, which we had been saying all along. It gets better. We still asked him to go prove his point that the black on black crime was the epidemic. He was referring to it as interracial, intraracial. He went back, and about 10 minutes later, he came back with an opinion article dated, wait for it, 1985. Your boy had a mullet. Your boy wore black and white checkered Vans and a members only jacket. I have never in my life seen a better self-own than that. It was unreal how crazy that was. And even people that were sort of on his side in the comments were kind of like, yeah, that did not end well for you, boo. So the reason that I wanted to share that with you is because we certainly know that our friends on the right are void of facts. They do not care about the information. They just care about the narrative. So I got you. I'm happy to go in those spaces again. At one point, it was 8 versus 1. RJ showed up. They kicked RJ. It was RJ's birthday yesterday, and they didn't want him around, and they kicked him. He kept coming back. They kept kicking me. They kept bringing me back up. But when they bring in their experts, and I'm thinking to myself, this is the best you got? This is the best you got? You don't even have the information. And they try to, I prepare. I got a pretty good memory. I was doing a lot of this from memory. I'm providing information. I am addressing their questions. I'm answering their questions. Where would you like this source to be? What source would you like me to use? It was, thank you. Thank you, Callie. Yes, it's my birthday. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. 29 times 2. So I use that for you guys because if you are having conversations with your family or friends, then you know what? Give them their argument. If they want to say, Joe, if we're going to talk about Donald Trump's health in just a second, they said, well, you guys you didn't publish, you didn't talk about Joe Biden's health for 4 years. You're right. The Democrats should have done a better job. Absolutely agree with you. They should have done a better job talking about Joe Biden's health. And it does feel like maybe they didn't share everything with us. You're absolutely right. Okay, cool. What are they going to do? That's their entire argument. So you can disarm them immediately. Okay, cool. So then can we talk about Trump's now? Like, where is he? Why are we not? Thank you, Gary. Why are we not getting all that public information? It was really, really just an amazing exercise. I was in there for a while. And again, the host was loud, obnoxious, but I'll give him credit. He allowed me to stay on the panel. And he actually, in some cases, he kind of, I'm not going to say he agreed with me, but there was one comment that he made was, okay, that's an interesting point. And I'm thinking that is an acknowledgement. And then we were talking about Maxwell and E. And again, the same expert said, oh, I've been researching this case and tell me why there was no information released during the Biden administration, huh? I said, well, there was. And they're like, no, there wasn't. I said, okay, let's talk about that. And again, we went to the tape, Jim. We explained that the information couldn't be released because the trial for Maxwell was under appeal. We talked about that. We talked about the information that we had that was made available to us became public during the Biden administration. They didn't like that answer. And then where it kind of really wrapped up was, well, an Obama appointed judge sealed the grand jury testimony. Why didn't they release it? So again, we went to the statement that the judge made. And the judge said the Department of Justice it's got like hundreds of thousands of pages on this. I read it from the judge's ruling. So they're expert. And this is why we do this shit, friends. This is why we do. This is why I do this. This is why this is incredibly important to me. Because people live in such a vacuum. They are absolutely, it doesn't matter. Even their own arguments. They attempt to own the libs by saying, why didn't you guys talk about Joe Biden's health? So I'm like, you're right. We should have done a better job. Absolutely. 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 You should have talked about that more. You're right. We want transparency, right? What are they going to say to that? What are they going to say? What about Biden? Yeah, I agree. And then the whole, Hunter Biden's laptop came around. I'm like, yeah, you're right. There shouldn't have been as much, negative attention trying to deflect away from it. I totally agree with you. What are they going to do? I mean, obviously I like playing with my food a little bit, but at that point, what are they going to do? It was just an interesting exercise. And I don't wish it on anyone. Humbly speaking, I'm good in that environment. I can handle that shit. I don't recommend it for everybody's health. Hang on one second. Sounds good. Hold on, let me just respond to this. Okay. So it was really, thank you very much. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. It was just really an interesting exercise and I can't do that all the time because it just takes a lot of energy, but it was just a lot. It was really a lot, and it just goes to show you where they are. Okay. So I want to play a little bit of sound again from our friends at the Necessary Conversation podcast. And then we got to talk about Donald Trump's health, because that topic came up in that over the weekend in my little trolling in the right-wing spaces endeavor over the weekend. So let's do that now, because our friends with the Necessary Conversation podcast are not having the best time trying to come to terms with this, because as you guys know, so before I play the sound for you, Newsmax settled with Dominion because they admitted in their settlement about that they told lies regarding the election, the voting machines, 2020 specifically. Okay, so they got sued, they lost, just like Fox lost. Okay, so the settlement, the initial lawsuit was for like over $1 billion. They settled. Okay, so so Chad asks mom and dad their reactions. And if you ever watch the podcast, you can start to see mom really starting to process shit. Like, fuck, this stuff keeps coming out all the fucking time. I keep defending this shit. It happens again. I keep saying that's not the case. Then I'm proven wrong. So she's starting to crack. And dad's just not willing to do it. He's just going to double down on his lies, because what's he going to do now? Okay? So this is just pretty wild. This is wild. Hold on.
Do you still think it was rigged? Do you think the lies Newsmax was telling you, that they have now admitted are lies, do you think those are true?
Yes.
Dad says yes. Mom says I don't know.
But this is your credible news source.
I said yes.
Newsmax in this settlement is saying we lied about this shit.
Right.
I don't.
Good for them.
You know how you get information firsthand in the beginning that may not be true? Maybe. No.
Like everybody, like CNN is just, they never lie, do they?
No.
Okay.
Did you catch that whataboutism? Right? Did you catch that? So confronted with the evidence, and this is exactly what I was experiencing over the weekend. I'm glad I heard this clip. Exactly what I experienced, right? We're not talking about that. We're talking about this. I asked you a question about this, and because they can't answer it, they're going to go, what about Biden? What about CNN? What about MSNBC? It continues.
So what you're doing is called whataboutism. We're talking about one thing.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
No, not oh gosh.
Oh,
listen
gosh.
to this. Just listen.
Okay.
We are talking about a completely different topic. You don't want to continue that conversation, so you say, well, what about CNN? That has nothing to do with this. It's literally not related in any way.
Dad said that. I love Newsmax.
I said that they lie.
I'll wear a t-shirt next week.
So does MSNBC.
So there you go. They lie. I love Newsmax. That particular fight, we can't win. We are not going to change their minds, right? We've talked about this before. I don't know what the number is, 10, 20%, whatever the number is. People like mom and dad. So what I was playing there was sound from this podcast. It's called Necessary Conversation. It's mom and dad who are hardcore Trumpers. They mainline Newsmax all day long. Okay. And then there's Chad and Haley, who are their kids. Haley she's a self-professed communist. Chad's progressive and living in California for forever. And they have decided they use this platform of this podcast to say, we're not going to talk politics anywhere but here. And I respect the fact that they're doing that. But their parents are now stuck, because I've been watching the evolution of this for a long time. Their parents are now stuck, and mom is starting to crack. And I've seen conversations with them when dad's not around. And she's much more amenable to the information that they're sharing as opposed to what dad is spewing. So it's a really, really wild exercise, especially as when their own sources of news have admitted lying. And dad's answer is they all lie. We're not talking about all of them. The place that you get your information from, your main source of news, he's admitted that they watch it all day. Their main source of news has admitted to lying to you. Got another restriction. Great. This is great. Let me see. Okay. Your main source of news has admitted, right? And it's funny because I see some trolls in the chat this morning. And how funny, when I'm in the live over the weekend, I get accused of spreading misinformation, and the people that are getting kicked from the live are getting kicked for misinformation. I didn't get kicked from TikTok. The host kicked me. So they want to blame my followers. And by the way, humbly speaking, when I went into the live, there was like 120 people in there. When I got to the live, there was like 600. So thank you all for showing up. I appreciate that. And thank you on behalf of the host who got his algorithm spiked because of y'all. I don't need to restart. I'm good. So the weird part, should we restart? Mods, what do you think? Should we restart? I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to restart. I think it's a good idea. Everybody, can you guys please come right back? We're just. Thank you, Dana. I appreciate you, friend. You're very sweet. Thank you so much. Thank you, Leah. Another September, baby. Beautiful. Virgos for the win. Thanks, guys. Help us get back out to FYP. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's if it's just a glitch today or we just might need more activity. Again, thank you for being here. If you're just finding us, I'm Fax, Steve. Go live every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until noon. I am the progressive in your pocket. So thank you for being here. And yes, it's my birthday. So thank you guys for being here. Appreciate y'all. Anyway, if you're just joining, we were just finishing up this conversation. The more and more we see cracks in the communication from the White House, the more and more anxiety, frustration, anger, these things that build up from the right. On that topic, our friend Daniela Messinik-Young, who is a cult survivor and also a veteran who's an expert, preeminent expert on cults, in my opinion, is going to join us at 9 o'clock this morning. And we're going to talk about it because I have millions of questions for her as we're starting to see some breaks, some kinks in the armor. Starting to see just a lot of people being like, what the fuck is going on? The most transparent presidency. So I want to get some more folks in here because I want to go through this exercise with you guys. Actually, you know what? As people are building, I have a new feature for you. I think you guys are going to like this. We know our friend Chris Lewis, who does our amazing the PSA that we have for our show. I just want to wait. So we have a brand new feature. We're not fully there just yet as far as the production side of it. We're getting close. But I'm going to give you a little teaser. So I think you guys will appreciate this. At least I hope you do. So here we go.
These are Maga's words of wisdom.
People and more crime is committed and more people are killed with hammers every year than guns. Look at the facts.
I will look that up. I don't think that's true, actually.
That is true.
In the United States, though?
Yes, sir. That is true. Look it up. It's on. You can Google it. It's true. It's actually true.
So the number of murder victims and the weapons used. Okay, number 1, handguns, 8,029. Number 2, firearms, type not stated, 4,863. Number 3, knives or cutting instruments, personal weapons, fists, feet. Then rifles at 455. Then blunt objects, clubs, hammers, 393. The 300, the hammers, that stat is just wrong.
Back to your question. Second Amendment is still my right, and it's still important to me.
Cool.
These are MAGA's words of wisdom.
I am licensed to hammer. Just so you know, I can pound with the best of them, friends. Thank you for playing. Try the veal. So that will be a feature of our show going forward, and I have got an archive of shit, an archive of stuff and things that we haven't even played yet. Exactly. So, anywho, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back. So we need to talk about the president's health. So, again, in that same conversation I had over the weekend, we were discussing this, and I was asked the question, why didn't you guys do a better job? Why were you trying to hide Joe Biden's health? And like I said, my strategy, as I mentioned this before, going in is, you're right, should have talked about that more. Because can we agree that we want transparency so that we know exactly the condition of our president? And they're like, yeah. I said, so then where's Trump? Why have we not seen him? And then what they had told me was, we have an Instagram post from the president today playing golf with John Gruden. That was yesterday. Okay. So I'm going to show you some things. I did a little sleuthing for you because I was really curious, because I'm like, I've seen that picture before. First, a couple of things. All right. So bear with me on my little exercise here. Hold on. This picture right here is a picture at his golf club in Virginia on Saturday. Okay. On Saturday. That's the only picture that we saw. He did not speak to the press. Okay. He did not speak to the press. He did not speak to anybody. Not every time, but overwhelming large majority of the time that he goes anywhere, especially when he's got his Trump merch on, he always takes questions from the press. Okay? Always. It didn't happen leaving the White House, and it didn't happen when he arrived. That's his grandson. I don't know his name. I'm not going to share his name. He's a minor. Okay? That's from Saturday. Okay? All right. Then we get this picture from yesterday. Okay, this is posted by the New York Post. And the interesting article in the Post, let me see if I can, where's the headline? Do I have it still? Yes, okay. So this is the image from this story. Okay, this is from yesterday. This was posted yesterday. Donald Trump seen heading to, this was posted at 12:37 p.m. yesterday. There's video in the article, but this is the picture, okay? Donald Trump seen heading to golf course after strange speculation about his health. President Trump was spotted leaving the White House Sunday morning in golf gear before rolling to his country club in Northern Virginia. Again, I'll finish the story in just a second because this is interesting. Trump was sporting golf shoes, black pants, and a black pullover as he hopped into a black SUV on a beautiful morning in Washington. Excuse me. Wow. He was also wearing a white USA hat. The president's motorcade arrived at Trump National in Sterling just after 10 a.m. Again, this is from New York Post. Quote, great playing golf with John Gruden, a really nice guy and a true character. Okay, cool. So this is the picture that he posted on his True Social yesterday. You can see the date, okay? Notice a couple of things. Notice the shirt. This is John Gruden, Trump hat. That's posted yesterday. You can see the date, August 31st. Okay? This is where it gets really interesting. All right? This is where it gets really interesting. Because, and like I said, I was really curious about that. Because this picture right here is from John Gruden's Instagram page. Notice the date, August 23rd. So let's think about this logically for a second. Same shirt. Same shirt. Same shirt. Same shirt. This picture posted yesterday by Donald Trump, the New York Post article says, great playing golf with John Gruden. Again, the quote, great playing golf with John Gruden, a really nice guy and a true character. So let's think about that for a second, friends. Now, if you were to read that, since it was posted yesterday on True Social, what would they be attempting to imply? That yesterday, Trump was playing golf with John Gruden. Can we agree? Can we agree on that? I think that's a logical assumption to make, right? Blue shirt. Here's the problem. When you look at this picture again, you can see it's the same shirt. And again, you can see the timestamp, dated August 23rd, right there, right? Dated August 23rd, okay? John Gruden is a multimillionaire. He was an NFL coach, Super Bowl winning coach, college coach, ESPN commentator, endorser. He's made millions and millions and millions of dollars. Millions and millions and millions of dollars, okay? You mean to tell me that he can't wear a different shirt? Could have more than one of the same shirt? Of course, Josh. Of course he could. But would he wear the exact same attire? I mean, literally exactly the same? Exactly the same. Black hat, black short, white shoes, blue shirt. Would he wear the exact same attire? This is what investigative journalism is. This is what happens. So exactly, same shorts, same white, same shirt, same hat. You would wear the exact same things to play with the president on back-to-back weekends? This was posted on John Gruden's Instagram page. Now let's be objective for a second, guys. Okay, let's be objective. Let's just be objective. Okay? So again, back to the imagery. This picture is from Saturday. Okay, this is him actually at his golf club in Virginia. Red hat. Okay? No pictures of him playing golf on Saturday at all. None. No pictures. I mean, there's always pictures whenever he plays golf. There's always photographs. There's always images. Every time he goes, we always see it. Okay? That is from Saturday. This picture that I share with you is from yesterday, the 31st. So they talk about continuity in movies, right? So think about this. Here's where my brain goes, okay? Here's where my brain goes. What does this say? But the Dems what? But the Dems weren't transparent. Yeah, exactly. You're right, Sam. Exactly. Okay, this is from yesterday. So again, continuity. So we need to find a picture to keep the base satisfied. So Mr. Trump, you're going to wear a white hat today. Again, no pictures of him playing golf on Saturday. No pictures of him playing golf yesterday. So their response to this whole thing is to publish this picture claiming, is this the one? It's this one. This is posted yesterday on Truth Social. There's the timestamp. You can see it right there. August 31st. White hat. John Gruden, black hat, black shorts or dark blue, white socks, white shoes, blue shirt. 1 week ago Saturday, on the 23rd of August, this was the picture that was posted on John Gruden's Instagram page. Black hat, black shorts, white, and a blue shirt. You can draw your own conclusions. But I was literally in the live yesterday with those same people that I was talking to, and that's what they were referring to. It says it right here. He's playing golf with John Gruden. So, I mean, let's just think about this logically. Can we think about it logically? I'm not even asking you to draw your own conclusions. Let's just look at the information. The best part about that, right, is my buddy, I was going to play some Billy Joel, that'd be great. My buddy, Triple K. Okay, this is my buddy, Triple K. I want you to hear what she has to say about the administration.
The Associated Press says you're restricting access to the president and you're restricting access of the free press.
It's a very hard argument to make when the president of the United States holds press conferences himself for more than an hour, sometimes multiple times a day, and takes questions from an array of journalists from outlets on the left and on the right. This is the most accessible and transparent administration in history, and anybody who just watches the television can see that.
You're from New Hampshire, Caroline, so I might have to play that sound again.
And anybody who just watches from outlets on the left and on the right. This is the most accessible and transparent. The most accessible and transparent administration in history, and anybody who just watches the television can see that.
Okay, so what do we want to assume from this? And this is the problem, right? Because they are without question the least transparent administration in history, maybe compared to the first time, we have to then draw our own conclusions. So if you go back to the New York Post article, something very interesting they said in there. Trump took a brief hiatus from his public schedule, and I have his public schedule. There's nothing on it. There hasn't been anything on his public schedule, including today. There's nothing on his public schedule at all. We're going to get into some of the nonsense of his post, but New York Post, it's a News Corp owned publication. Rupert Murdoch owns it. The liberal rumor mill began on Friday when the White House released a blank schedule with no public events for the president during Labor Day weekend. Okay. So I'm going to leave that right there for just a second, and I'm going to go back to the sound that we had from the cabinet meeting, that infamous cabinet meeting that was without question the biggest stroke fest that I have ever seen. And this was his last public appearance. This was on the 26th. This is the last time that we saw him when he was in a position to be taking questions from the media. Okay? So I want people to listen to this and just think about it as if Nana's got, just days or hours to live, and her family gathers around her and they're singing her praises, how awesome she is. So this is ode to Nana, I guess, or Peepaw.
Country has never been so secure thanks to you.
I mean, it's so much fun to work with everybody here. I mean, we just have a blast.
It's an honor to do this job under the president's leadership and with this very great team that you've assembled.
Thanks to you, when I go into a restaurant or stop by a hotel doorman, I am the most popular person there.
I like to think of Labor Day as the Trump trade policy day.
Your success is game-changing out in the world today, and I hope everybody one day wakes up and realizes that.
You understood it in the 80s and the 90s, and I used to, see you on TV and you'd say, God, what are these people doing?
And you, sir, are restoring trust to government. You are weeding out the waste, fraud, and abuse.
And watching you in Scotland was my favorite thing, right?
And you have flipped the script.
This administration, your administration, has made a meaningful dent in the budget deficit.
It's the greatest honor of my life. I tell it to everybody, and I really do feel that way.
Everyone's talking about it all over the world. I hate to have to talk about that, but we have to. It's becoming a very safe place again.
It's a privilege to go out there and represent you in your humanitarian effort.
I mean, it has been a blast. A blast.
You
It
are
has been
the
a blast.
finest candidate.
I didn't catch that before. It has been a blast. Okay.
Since the this Nobel Award was ever talked about.
It's been really fantastic, but I'm not surprised.
I want to congratulate you and the entire team on all the things that have been accomplished.
You chastise me for saying that it's not, that number is too low, and as usual, you're right.
So we are making incredible strides.
You have saved this country by making it the best place in the world to do business again.
Your team is nothing short of incredible.
Because Linda's hitting Harvard and she says, what can we do? And now we send them a patent letter and we'll hit them again. So
you have brought us back from the edge.
It is a privilege for me to work alongside. The people were applauding you. The signs were up.
Donald Trump is the only president who understands the magnet to make him come home is one word, which used to be a favorite word. Now it's dropped to number 4, which is tariffs.
Thank you for reclaiming Labor Day for the American people.
We're having fun together. This is the greatest cabinet working for the greatest president, and I just want to say thank you. I'm having the time of my life working for you, Mr. President.
Thank you. That was very well stated, wasn't it? Things people don't think of too much. Thank you very much.
Victoria just texted me. It sounds like they're saying goodbye. I mean, it sounds like a eulogy. I don't know how else to describe it. I've never in my life ever heard anything like that. And then over the weekend, there is a thank you, Victoria. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate your kindness. Yes, it's my birthday. Thank you all. Anyway, and then over the weekend, first of all, think about this, okay? Have you guys ever seen a campaign ad for a VP, especially at this point in their presidency? 7-8 months in. There's an ad posted by JD Vance. You can go to his page. It looks like a trust in me, I got your back. And the reason I say that, because my marketing brain was firing. Like, okay, he is trying to connect himself to Donald Trump's success. And the only way he can do that is by doing it now. Again, draw your own conclusions, you guys. Draw your own conclusions. I don't know. I don't know what else. I'm not sure how else to talk about this other than to say we've got this whole glazing session, this whole like unbelievable, like, I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but he was so happy.
I'm going to come.
Yeah. Like it was this wild episode. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. Right when I first heard that shit, I mean, you guys just heard it, right? You guys just heard it. I'd never thought about it, but then when you start to put the pieces together, so back to his public schedule, all right? This is the information presented by the White House. On camera, that's what I just played. That was the 26th. That was the cabinet meeting, the sound that I just played. Friday, thank you, Toy. That Friday through Monday, the 29th. So we didn't see him on Saturday, on Friday. We didn't see him on Thursday. We didn't see him on Friday. There is no public scheduled events listed from the 29th of August through today. He was seen leaving the White House in golf gear yesterday. We talked about that. There was no images of him on the golf course, just him leaving. And then that post that I've already shared with you, that was posted. We can draw our own conclusions, right? The same golf shirt that John Gruden's wearing, the same shorts. Now, again, I'm going to ask MAGA, because a lot of you are in the chat today, if you were going to play golf with the president, okay, and you were going to play golf on back-to-back weekends with the president, would you wear the exact same clothes? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, I've got multiple pieces of golf attire, right? You wouldn't do that. And again, continuity matters, right? Continuity matters. So let's just real quick, let's just recap, okay? Let's just recap what we have. This is from Saturday, the 30th. Red hat, that's his grandson, photographed in Virginia at his golf club, okay? No photos of him playing golf, none whatsoever. This was posted yesterday. Great time playing golf with John Gruden. That's the date, 31st. That's posted yesterday, okay? And then on John Gruden's Instagram page, we get this picture a week ago, the 23rd. Exact same attire. Transparency from the presidency? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it, buddy. I don't see how anybody can draw a conclusion other than this is a fucking cover-up. Another one. There's more? Is there more? Hold on. Wait, there's more. Okay. I think I saw Jen say that. First of all, Jen was I was Jen's wingman during that experiment over the weekend.
Hey, keep tapping the screen. We have 1,000 people in this room. We should be way above 100,000, you guys. Let's get Steve up for his birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you, friend. Thank you for being there as my wingman. I was your wingman over the weekend. That was fucking wild. Holy shit.
It was wild.
What do you got?
What would I call that? I would call that a hot mess.
It was you know what? That would be an insult to hot messes.
Probably. Yeah. It's probably true. Well, that one guy couldn't focus on anything. All he could focus on was on my upside down flag.
That's right. And he was, I think he has a crush on me, Jen. I don't think you wanted to admit it.
Well, you are a silver fox.
Thank you. Appreciate you very much.
I want you to pull up that picture where you see Kai Trump, the granddaughter.
Is that his granddaughter or his grandson? I think it's his grandson.
No, there's a picture of his granddaughter. Here, I'll pull it up on if you don't mind me putting on my camera. Is that all right?
Go for it. Yeah, you want the big screen?
Yeah, but wait, let me turn it around off me. That's crazy scary.
How old is Steve today? Steve is 29 today, times 2. Yep, exactly. That's
so,
right.
This is a picture that they,
Okay,
this is the picture that they posted. There's Trump, the grandson, and then the granddaughter, Kai. Yep. Kai Trump. But then.
What's the date? What's the date on that picture, Jen?
Oh, that was yesterday, but there's also more pictures.
That would probably be Saturday because of the red hat. Because this picture that I have is him. The one that's behind me is the red hat with that same image because his grandson and his granddaughter are both in that picture. I'm going to assume that's from Saturday. Maybe not. It's hard to tell. Lack of transparency.
Are you familiar with this person?
I am not.
Abigail Taylor.
Okay.
I believe that this is Don Trump's wife, maybe? Okay. So she posts a picture of her and Trump and Kai and writes like a nasty post right here on her. I don't know what this is. This Sotwe. I guess it's like a bridge. So hold on, I took a video of it because I'm like, they're going to scrub this. So this was yesterday. And this I think.
So that was, hang on one second.
Yeah.
So are you saying that this was posted yesterday?
Yeah.
I just want to back up a second because we got a lot of things going on here. So let's just level set a second. So you're saying that this was posted yesterday?
Yes.
Do we have a timestamp on that? Does it say the 31st?
It's yesterday right here. That's when it was posted, right?
Got it.
I took that picture,
yep.
and then it was posted like that, right? And then
got it.
And then it goes even far. So this is her picture. She says here, Donald Trump appeared at his golf club this morning, proving his health is stable and denying all the rumors. Don't let false rumors affect the truth. Okay, everybody sees that picture.
Yes.
She's wearing a white shirt with a blue skirt and a white hat, white shoes. Okay?
Got it.
Now, if you could remember that picture.
Yep.
Let me go here real quick because I sent.
Don't dox
No, I'm
yourself,
not
Jen.
doxing myself. I'm just going to pull up this article because my friend and I were looking at it together.
I didn't see bruising on his hand either in that picture, by the way.
No. This is an article. I hope they didn't scrub it already. This article was posted in the Times.
What's the date?
Wednesday, January 29th, 2025.
Okay. Okay. Would you send me that in the Discord, please?
I'm not in your Discord.
Why aren't you?
That's bad. I don't know. And then the other thing is that one more thing. Let me just show you this real quick, and then I'll. This is the picture, right? Everybody's seen this.
Yeah.
She's wearing a white
her
skirt,
skirt's white,
black top, blue hat.
Yep.
White hat, white top, blue skirt.
Blue skirt. So again, I mean, I'm going to get back up on the screen. All we are trying to do here, is get to the truth, right? That's it. So we can't, and I think thank you, first of all, thank you for doing that. And this kind of just proves once again what Jen and I and others experienced over the weekend. In an attempt to try to figure out a way to justify where things are in regard to the fact that there's no transparency, from this administration. They are doing a horrible job trying to cover this up. A horrible job. Absolutely horrible job. Which then tells us that, why will MAGA ever believe the truth? So think about what we just went through. We've got so many images themselves. Listen, if you're going to do this and you're going to go full on fucking cover up, then why don't you just use AI? Why don't you get somebody? Let's make sure we have this absolutely identical, because their followers are too stupid. They won't know any better. Mm-hmm. So we've got all this information that contradicts their own story. They use a picture with his own granddaughter. I almost said daughter. Granddaughter.
The daughter, yes.
Exactly. The daughter with the water. How you doing? We've got somebody posting saying we can dispel the rumors of Donald Trump's health. He's playing golf with his granddaughter today. We find a story that has a picture from January of this year. The same image. Mm-hmm. The exact same image. Mm-hmm. Like, I would like someone, I know I have my fans from the right that are in here today. I would like you to come up so we can talk about that. And I would like you to come up on camera and try to defend what we just went through. It's wild. Thank you for doing that work, my friend. I really appreciate you.
And then, of course, the pizza index, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, the pizza index, about how, in case people don't know, we'll tell people what the pizza index is, Jen. Go ahead.
It's the activity of pizza being ordered to the intelligence agencies around the Pentagon. If the theory is that if the intelligence agencies that surround the Pentagon are ordering more pizzas, they're pulling all-nighters, which means that there's something going on. And people who've actually studied this, which is crazy, they said that if the pizza index goes up, there's always something of national security that's announced the next day or the next few days.
Well, and maybe, again, like we talk about often, like I don't want people to consider these things distractions. They are distracting, but we've got U.S. Navy warships off the coast of Venezuela.
Right.
Again, are we talking a little soft regime change? I don't know, but that's happening too. So a question is, where is Donnie? Where is he? MAGA, where is he? Where's your boy? Because they are lying to you again, right in front of your face, and we just proved it. We literally just proved that they are lying directly to your face. I'm just asking you, again, Jen was there. We were just asking questions of these people. They couldn't defend it. We dunked on them regularly. I was proud of myself, I must say. It was really fun. But here's another example. All we're asking you to do is say, we're asking the same question. You, for years, all you did was rail about Joe Biden's health. All you did. And I'm like, yeah, I wish they were more transparent. Sure, no doubt about it. We did get Joe Biden's health records every single year. As someone who's had prostate exams, you don't go every year. You have your prostate examined every 5 years, depending on your levels, every 10 if their levels are good. So that they found this cancer. It sucks. He's got stage 4 cancer. It's likely going to take his life. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. But we can't, just because that happened, doesn't mean we shouldn't be talking about this. MAGA, where's your boy? Where is he? What's going on? Thank you for that breakdown this morning, Jen.
All right. I will jump into your server.
Please do. Yes.
Okay.
Sam will bug you to the point where you will relent and you'll have to do it anyway. So
well,
thank
if
you
Sam
for that. I appreciate you,
start bugging me because I'm an old lady and I don't know how to do it exactly.
It's no problem. I love you, friend. Thanks for being here.
All right.
Talk
Thanks
to you later.
so much.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Bye. Thank you. Appreciate you. It's one of these really, really wild scenarios now, isn't it? All we're asking for is information. That's it. Just asking for it. Good morning, Sean. How are you today? Sean, are you there?
What's up?
How you doing?
Listen, bro. You guys hate the man so much, but he's like
Sean. Let's just talk about what we just went through. Let's just talk about it. Were you listening?
Look, I have a friend who's Secret Service. The man is
Sean. I don't care. You can't prove that. Sean, just listen. Just listen without dropping out, without just rage quitting. Just listen. All we are asking for is consistency. So were you watching what we just went through? Photos claiming that they were posted. Wait, Sean. Sean, wait. Just give me a second, man. Just give me a second. Just give me a second, okay? We have a post from somebody in Trump's orbit that said this picture is from yesterday with his granddaughter. There is a photograph of an event that he was at in January with the exact same picture, Sean.
Okay, he wears
The
the
exact
same
same
blue
picture.
suit and red tie every day too.
It's not the outfit. It's the exact same picture. Then I want you to explain this to me too, Sean. So I'm gonna ask you to explain this to me, okay? So we get this picture from yesterday. Okay, we get this picture posted by the New York Post yesterday. Okay, this is him leaving the White House, going to his golf club. There's no pictures of him from his golf club. Okay, we got that. All right, are you with me on that? Do you trust me? It's in the New York Post article. Can you trust that?
What golf club did he go to again?
His in Virginia. Okay, his golf club in Virginia. Okay, so listen, can you accept that?
I'll accept what you're saying.
I'm asking you if you can accept that. It's a photograph. It's not Photoshop. It's in the New York Post. Can you not accept that as the truth?
I'm gonna accept what you're saying. I have to see. I have to look into things myself first. But I'll accept. What
you can. That's fine. I'm gonna walk you through this. I'm just asking you to listen. That's all I'm doing. Okay. I'm gonna make the case and then you can refute it. Fair enough?
I'm listening.
Okay. So that's from yesterday. This is a post that he posted on Truth Social yesterday. Hold on. Let me get the better picture. Donald Trump, you can see the date, August 31st. Okay?
Okay.
See that? Okay. This is what he posted yesterday. That's John Gruden. He's talking about it in the post, playing golf with John Gruden. Really great guy. So what does that imply? That they played golf together yesterday, right?
Yes.
Okay. Black hat, black shorts, blue shirt, and he's got white golf shoes on. When you go to John Gruden's Instagram page, this is the picture that you see. The date of that picture is the 23rd of August, which is last Saturday. So the question I have for you, right, is would someone who's playing golf with the president, who's a multimillionaire, wear exactly the same outfit?
Yes, because Tiger Woods has many times.
Tiger Woods, when he wins a golf tournament, he only wears it on Sunday.
Woods
he wears the red.
The president many times, and you can source many pictures of Tiger Woods and the president playing golf over the years.
Sean,
same exact outfit on.
Sean.
Wait, why are you cutting me off? I didn't cut you off. I'm rebutting what you're saying with the fact.
But Tiger Woods wears red on Sean. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods wears red on Tiger Woods. Sean.
You're not playing fair. I just rebutted you.
I am playing fair. No, you didn't. He wears red on Sundays. Okay, this was a week. Sean, this was a week apart.
It doesn't matter. My brother plays golf. He wears the same shit every time he plays golf.
Oh my!
Same exact shit. And he's a very good golf player. But when he plays golf, he damn near wears the same fucking outfit, bro. What are you talking about? Tiger Woods wears the same shit damn near every time.
Where is Donald Trump, Sean? So you honestly believe that he played golf with John Gruden yesterday?
Yes, I do, because they wear the same outfit all the time.
Okay, but why did John Gruden post this picture from him golfing with Donald Trump on August 23rd and not a picture from yesterday?
That I can't answer, but you're talking about clothing. What I'm telling you is I know people who golf. They wear the same clothing all the time. Maybe you don't, but you can source thousands of pictures of Tiger Woods wearing the same damn outfit over years. And that is a billionaire.
So let's think about this for a second. Does Tiger Woods have an endorsement deal, Sean?
He can wear a different red shirt, right? He can have a Nike symbol on it. He can have his Tiger Woods emblem on a hat with a different color hat, right? He can wear different color shoes, right?
That's not the question I asked. That's not the question I asked, Sean. Okay, that's not the question I asked. Does he have an endorsement?
Endorsement merchandise comes in different colors. He can wear different colors if he wants to, as long as he's still endorsing the merchandise.
I just want to make it. I just want to make it very clear.
Yes,
he has an endorsement.
Can you wear the same endorsement merchandise in a different color? Yes or no?
Of course you can.
Okay,
but he wears
Tiger
red on
Woods
Sunday.
likes to wear the same shit, the same colors over and over again.
Right, but does Tiger Woods play golf a week apart from the president and wear the same clothes?
You're trying to rebut Tiger Woods wearing the same thing for years playing
We're
golf.
not talking about Tiger Woods. We're talking about Donald Trump. Where is Donald Trump, Sean? Where is he?
They're saying he's in wherever he's at, Virginia. Until somebody proves me otherwise, that's where he's at. But you're talking about
why are there no, okay? The only picture. So
and the
Sean,
point is clothing doesn't prove a point because golfers tend to wear the same thing over and over again.
Why are you yelling?
Because you're not understanding a basic fact about people who play golf.
I play golf.
Okay, you're probably that 1% who doesn't. These people wear the same clothing.
The 1%
wears the same shit all the time. His granddaughter.
Let's think about that for a second.
Have you ever seen his granddaughter's page before? His granddaughter Kai. Have you ever seen her page? His granddaughter Kai.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen her page before?
I have.
Do you see the outfits this girl changes just to change on a regular basis? You want to talk about a teenager?
Sean, if you can't stop filibustering, I'm just going to drop you. I need you to stop talking.
But you don't want to hear what I have to say. You just want to keep butting into what I have to say.
Sean, why are you yelling? You're the only one up here that's yelling. The only one. Stop yelling. Try to have a conversation.
Stop interrupting me when I'm speaking.
Stop yelling, Sean. Stop yelling. I'm just asking you to listen.
I already listened.
Do you think it's reasonable for people to assume when they're, and I'm just asking you to follow the logic here. Do you agree that he's been diagnosed with a vein condition? Do you agree with that?
Yes, he has. He's 70 some odd. He's almost 80 years old.
Right. Okay, cool. So Joe Biden was almost 80 years old too. Got it. Understood.
Yes, senile and everything. And y'all denied that for 4 years.
Sweet. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hang with me. Okay? I'm giving you some space here. Just hang with me. So we can agree that he has a health condition. We also have a gap in his schedule that we've never seen before, Sean. Okay? We have that cabinet meeting where people were sitting around praising him quite a bit, all right? We see him every opportunity he gets, he's trying to cover his hand because of the black and blue. He put makeup on it. He's now taking questions when he does take them from behind the Resolute desk because of his swollen ankles. And then we don't see him publicly. And I think anybody could draw a logical conclusion that there is some issues when we've got similar pictures. Now, you may not agree. That's fine. But it doesn't mean that there isn't potential controversy over some of these images. That's all I'm saying. I did not come up here and make any conclusion. I'm just saying, from my perspective, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Now, if he wasn't sick and we didn't have all these kinds of things happening, no one would have noticed this. No one would have said anything. No one would have said a word. But because when you add everything else up, I think there is reason for people to be suspicious. If the president claims, which Caroline Leavitt does, he's the most transparent president in history, then why is there all this controversy, Sean? That's all we're saying. That's it. That's all we're saying.
So you guys are mad because Trump stayed out of the spotlight for a couple. This is what I mean.
I'm not mad.
No,
Sean, I'm not mad.
You see, every time I start to speak, you cut me off, and you talk about me cutting you off.
Don't make assumptions then. I'm not mad. I'm asking questions.
Donald Trump.
I'm asking questions.
The political landscape of the presidency. You people have more access.
Yeah, like corruption. Like corruption.
You see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. Your TDS. You can't be quiet.
Because, dude, you're in a cult. Just accept it.
Oh, you're. So what were you in for the last 4 years?
I vote for people and I hold them accountable.
What were you in for the last 4 years, denying a senile puppet who couldn't even walk up the stairs? What were you in saying that man was healthy, was actually running the country?
Are you a medical professional, Sean?
Have you not been listening to the congressional testimony coming out lately about this man?
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. We don't, Sean. We don't answer. Sean, we don't answer. Sean, we don't answer questions with
my questions. You never want to answer my questions.
Because we don't answer questions with questions, Sean. Okay. We don't answer questions.
I can speak on his medical history now because people have spoken about it under.
Who did? Who spoke about it? No, not under oath.
What people are saying.
Not under oath, Sean. That's not under oath. That's a congressional testimony. That's not under oath. Sorry, you're wrong about that.
Did you watch?
I did, Sean. But who were the people that did? Who were the people that did that?
So when it began and they stood and raised their hand and took the oath, what were you watching?
It's a congressional testimony, Sean. It's not like taking an oath in front of a judge.
They testify under oath, right? When they stand up and raise their right hand.
But what's the penalty if they lie, Sean?
It's contempt of Congress. It's actually like they're breaking the law.
But who brings the charges?
The DOJ would bring the charges. Well, no,
only if they're Sean.
I'm answering the question the right way.
Only if they want to. Only if they want to.
Refer charges to the DOJ.
Only if they want to.
Okay. Has Eric Oholm ever been arrested for lying and being in contempt of Congress?
Why are we pivoting away from the fact that you cannot defend?
Usually because Congress.
Sean, let's do this. Let's try to start again.
Obviously, I guess.
Sean, let's try to start again. Okay. You're emotional. Why don't you tell me what you had for breakfast?
Oh, your Trump derangement syndrome is just overwhelming.
Nobody cares. Wow. I can't wait to talk to Daniela. Speaking of Daniela. That is exceptional timing. Exceptional timing. It is so nice to see you again. How are you? I really appreciate you.
How are you?
I'm fine. Sorry to call so late last night, but I saw a missed call from you, and I'm like, what's going on there?
The Republican dog is not happy that I'm here today.
So many people know you, but if you wouldn't mind just doing sort of a brief intro, and then we can talk, because that call was a lot.
Hi, everybody. I'm Daniela. I am a scholar of cults, extreme groups, and extremely bad leadership. I'm a former U.S. Army captain who has 2 years of or 2 tours to Afghanistan. I made some history for women. I wrote some books, but really I'm an expert on cults and bad guys. And it's a wild time to be an expert on cults and bad guys.
Yes.
Look at this book I have coming out, The Culting of America. So it's called The Culting of America, What Makes a Cult and Why We Love Them. And it comes out January 20th. If people are interested, you can find info in my bio. And it is breaking down cult think, right? So I have a 10-part definition of cult, and I'm breaking it down in each chapter, and I'm showing it to you in cults, then in the US military, and then in regular organizations. And then by the time we get to chapter 10, ends justifies the means. It's like, this has been about MAGA and American extremism and where we are right now. As I think we all just saw with Sean.
Yeah. The biggest,
I like to like, what are you in? Like we're not in anything. We're just in America voting for our leaders.
Exactly. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, because obviously we've got some for lack of a better term, we'll call it inconsistency of stories that are circulating around his absence. The whole e-files, all those kinds of things, promises made about no new wars, promises made about lowering prices, promises made about all these kinds of things, and none of them has happened, right? And yet there's still this fervent support, although there are people that have been loyal in this space in support of him who seem to be wavering a bit. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, do you agree with that assessment? And then second of all, is this where cults start to die, so to speak?
Yes. So, one of the things that happened here is that, so cults pop up in times of social turmoil, right? Which is what we're in. And we've been having all of these kind of Christian nationalist groups, right? For better or for worse, like building these different things. I think maybe at the beginning, the Heritage Foundation and the Republican Party thought they were getting Donald Trump as kind of like the patsy or the front man. But what really happened is he came in and took everyone's cults, and he turned it into a cult of personality. And this is actually the cult I grew up in, the Children of God. Like, that's what our cult leader did in the late 60s. He just went and collected everyone's cults, brought him into a cult of personality, all around Donald Trump, right? So at this point, on the one hand, there's nothing that he can do that is so bad that everyone is necessarily going to wake up. This includes up to losing your children, right? Like, doesn't wake people up from the cult, like the death of their own children. However, the Epstein list, I think, was kind of their mission, right? Every cult has this big transcendent mission. And Donald Trump has been giving them kind of for the last decade, we're going to go in, we're going to drain the swamp, right? Like what he has been promising is that he's going to rain down political apocalypse on their enemies, right? He's going to perp block the Clintons and the Obamas, and he's going to essentially pull hundreds of little white blonde children out of cages that have been being trafficked and give them back to their families. And then he kind of just disappeared his mission. I don't know why they decided to just say, we're not doing the Epstein list anymore, but that was the mission, right? That had become like, this is what we're here for. This is what we're doing. And I think that has been a pretty big crack in the brainwashing for a lot of people. So I think for the past 2 weeks, we've been seeing MAGA floundering pretty hard. He said the Epstein list is not coming. Then he mocked them for it. And then he, now he's trying to say it's a Democratic hoax and all that. But there's been no attempt to kind of give them a new mission. And I think, it's very unlikely that he can hold this cult at, 30% popularity, because he's the president of America and he's trying to force all of us into this cult. I don't know of any cult that works with 2/3 of your people being forced to be in it. And I think this MAGA thing has been a big crack in the brainwashing. Fast forward to where has he been? The good news here is I think it's obvious that he's not doing well. And when it does happen, cults of personality, it's going to fall apart really hard without him, which honestly, I think he knows. I think he knows MAGA's not going to survive without him. And I think he likes that. I think he likes being that important, and for Donald Trump and for this kind of narcissistic, sociopathic cult leader, he just wants to go down in history as something.
As a martyr, perhaps?
Maybe. I think he wants to go down with the same gravitas of Hitler and Stalin, right? He just wants his name to be up there with the big dogs. And
he doesn't want to be revered as the great American president. He would rather be identified as an authoritarian.
Absolutely.
In the same breath as
absolutely.
Wow.
Because if you think about great American president, Hitler is still mentioned with more gravitas than any great American president, right?
Can we just use the H word? Let's just be careful with that with TikTok. It's okay. I never thought about it that way. Wow.
Yeah. It's also just, there's this thing with sociopaths that they just have to play power games. They're just bored. So they just want to play power games and they just want to see stuff fall apart and they just want to win. And there's just been a confluence of all of this going on right now. One thing I can say is that Shady Vance is not capable of holding MAGA together in any way, in my opinion.
So I'm curious about your perspective on the practical side. So in your experience, and you've got, so much, the whole goal of the cult is that whatever the leader says, the cult does. Whatever the leader says, the cult believes. So when you start to see these cracks, right, what happens even before the leader doesn't exist? Are we seeing what's happening now because people are just I don't know what to believe anymore? They're desperate to still believe it because I think you told me this, their identity is now defined by their being part of this club, right?
Everyone thinks that when someone has sort of the crack in the brainwashing or the awakening moment, that's kind of like getting out of prison. You know that you're happy to be out. And that's not what it's like, right? For all of these people for the past decade, right? He has given their life this purpose and this meaning and this identity. And understanding that all of that was a lie is really painful for people, So I feel like I have this broad enough wide enough view that I'm seeing a lot of cracks and a lot of people coming out of it. But a lot of people are telling me, like, my people just seem to be doubling down harder. And that's always going to be true for some of the people, right? Some of the people are never going to wake up. They will go down with the ship. And we have examples of that in every cult, every big cult. But many people will wake up, but it's not this like, oh my gosh, I see the light, I'm so happy process, right? It's much more like, oh, the light is very painful, and they'll do anything to not have to face the fact that his whole thing was kind of a lie.
Do you see people attempting to, when the time comes, whether it be through losing power or being 25th or whatever it might be, or losing his life, do you see people who are ardent supporters, like, the red hat wearers, like immediately attempting to disassociate so that they're not connected with that bullshit anymore? Like the analogy that I like to use is that, in 15 years, the grandparents are rummaging through the attic and they find a red hat, right?
Yeah, I say that a lot. I've been saying that since last.
I stole that from you.
Presidency.
Yeah. I stole that from you, by the way. So there you go.
I don't know how immediate. So let me tell you one thing. When I was down at the Veterans Sit-In in DC, and I was just live streaming and filming the National Guard, they looked very uncomfortable.
I'm sure.
And I was being very nice, right? Introduced myself as former Army captain. Like, there's no reason for them to be afraid of me. They don't want their faces on screen, right? And that, I think, is significant, right? It's the same as ICE wearing their masks, right? Like, those, I feel like ICE wearing masks, like, in an international war court in the future, like, that's going to be the proof, right? That you knew you were doing something wrong, because why were you covering your face? I don't know how immediate it will be, especially if it's something like he just goes of natural causes or medical causes, but I do think there's going to be a distancing, when it all falls apart, for sure. And a lot of people, especially like when a cult falls apart around you. So this happened in the Children of God, right? The leader passed on, and his successor tried to keep it going for about a decade, but it really was just, they weren't keeping the children. Things were fracturing. So one day they were kind of like, well, Jesus told us he's not coming back in our lifetime anymore. And that had literally been the mission, right? Jesus is coming back any day. We have to win the world for Jesus. We have to sacrifice. We have to not put our kids in school, not have real jobs, all of this stuff, so that we can win the world for Jesus. As soon as that is not happening anymore, it kind of fell apart. And we ended up with this population of what we call never lefters. They are still like in this completely culted mindset. It's just that thing fell apart. Many of them are now MAGA. To give you an example of what people do with that, so a lot of people are probably just going to go back to whatever their obsession was before, whether that was a little bit more of a normal evangelical Christianity or, some other kind of politics or cause or something. But there's going to be a lot of people left with this feeling of like a gaping hole, and they're still in this mindset to kind of want authoritarian leadership, unfortunately.
So, again, I never really looked at it from that perspective. So if I think specifically about the e-files, by the way, we're talking to Danielle Mesnick-Young, author of numerous books on American. You've got a few other things, another one coming out. Uncultured. The links are still in my bio, by the way. If people are interested, you can find them there, or you can go to Danielle's page, Knitting Cult Lady, and find all the information there. I'm a big fan, and I'm so glad you're here. So thank you for your time. I know you're busy. I have a feeling, and I want to see how this tracks with the political side of your brain. It seems to me like they may have had rumors earlier on about his health. So in an attempt to try to avoid public embarrassment, maybe that is some of the delay connected to the release of the e-files, right? Because they're going to do everything they can to keep it from going public. That's why they send Todd Blanche in to speak with Millette Maxwell. She does this, the perjurer, the convicted felon, the absolute fucking monster predator who's behind bars. Suddenly she's been lended some credibility So does that track with you at all, that they're playing the long game here to try to avoid the ultimate embarrassment?
Yeah, for sure. What people don't understand is that, like, just because the cult leader is a front man, there's always like a leadership organization behind them, right? But that doesn't mean you don't still need that front man. And very often we see later in the cult leader's career, right? Like, all these bad things start coming out, and the organization has no choice but to try to defend them, right? To try to put it off. Like, the people in the know, in power, definitely do not want that list released, because obviously we all know that he was on it. Once he's gone, they don't have to try to justify it anymore, right? It's just going to be like, well, flawed people, whatever, But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that, and by the way, even with the releasing of his medical condition, like, when they did that, I was like, oh, he's very ill. Yeah. Because it's very not common for cult leaders to let on in any way that they are having any kind of, illness, especially sort of end of life kind of stuff. But especially this man, who's always trying to appear so, virile and toxic masculinity,
alpha,
blah, 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 right? Alpha,
right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
yep.
when they released anything about his health condition, I was like, oh, he's getting bad. Like, the people know, and I think they're trying to figure out, like, how to make this switch. And I don't think it's going to work. Like, just like I don't think they knew what they were getting when Donald Trump got pulled into this whole thing. Like, whoever picked Shady Vance picked wrong, because there's no way that, MAGA is following that guy with anything like the devotion that they have. And again, with cults of personality, so a cult can be led by an idea. And I think, like, a lot of these groups were idea cults before. I just call that idea racist conservatism, right? But they were all, like, devoted to this. And then Donald Trump came along and made it the cult of Donald Trump. And so to pass down a cult of an idea is much easier. That's like Scientology, one of the famous ones that passed down. It was always about the world that he created, not about him. Cult of personality, this is about Donald Trump. And in order to pass down a cult of personality, you have to do what's called charisma by proxy. So when Mormon's Joseph Smith was unalived, Brigham Young, his successor, was like, my face transformed into his face. You all saw it. I'm the new leader. And then he, like, systematically then made the Mormon church a cult of an idea. We are the one true church. Then it was easier to pass down. But when a cult of personality, when that person goes up in smoke, it is usually Game of Thrones. It is usually the beginning of the end. Even in cases like with the Children of God, where it appeared to pass down successfully, I argue that it really didn't. And it was cracking up from that point. So that's, like, the good news here is he's 80, not 40. And, like, there is certainly an end to this, whether it is, this weekend, as we all hope, or some years down the line.
I have often, and I've had to kind of sort of change my tune on certain things when I've been saying, I've used terms distraction. I'm like, this is a distraction, and I think it's dangerous, because they are intended to distract, but sending the National Guard and the U.S. military into American cities, that's not normal. That's in no world is that fucking normal. So, and again, it seems to, as you're describing this, it seems like that's all part of the aversion of the eyes, right? Everything. Now we've got Navy ships off the coast of Venezuela. We've got all these kinds of things going on. We've got world leaders aligning against the United States because of Donald Trump specifically. And yet, as your point, the cult of personality is just still unwilling to accept any of it. Although when you lose Candace Owens and you lose Nick Fuentes, strong voices who've always been
It's starting to crack up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's starting to crack up. And like, it all is just, so it was stunning to see armed troops marching around Washington, D.C., right? Absolutely did not like, even though I'm completely aware that that's like an 18-year-old part-time cashier and their 25-year-old boss who's a teacher, and like sending, so from the one hand, I'm like sending under 90 National Guard to each of these 19 states, right? Like that's not really a show of force in any way. It's giving 19 more states people the opportunity to push back. But it is absolutely intended to be this visual, right? This feeling of like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. I can't push back, and this is kind of the point the veterans at the sit-in in Washington, D.C. are trying to make. They're playing games, they're getting arrested, not playing games, but, they're pushing back, they're getting arrested. Oh my gosh, I got to tell a cop that I had more military experience in one of my ovaries than he has in his entire little man body. That was fun. Oh my God.
I'm sure that went over well.
And then he just cycled away because as a white woman military veteran, I have a powerful voice and I can do that stuff. So, one of the things I want to encourage people is like, if you see the opportunity to push back, or if you're in one of these states, like push back, like just go up to the National Guard and film them and tell them that you're filming them. Like that is part of pushing back. They removed the tanks from within 2 days of the veterans getting there and showing up and causing trouble. And it's like, I'm starting to call it fascism tug of war. And I think this is what we're going to be doing for the next 174 weeks is, he's going to do these things and then people are going to have to push back and governments are going to have to push back. And it's like, he's just testing all the different checks and balances. Like he really wants to be this big overlord. I think he's really bad at it. I think he doesn't know how to do it, but I also think that as Americans, we don't really know how to push back.
I think you and I have talked about this before, the difference between governing and ruling. And it seems like that's the entire MO of Trump and MAGA at the top, right? Because I think Stephen Miller's pulling the strings. I'd be curious about your perspective on that. Stephen Miller and Russ Vaught and the Heritage Foundation in general with Peter Thiel's money and others. I think they're the ones that are kind of pulling the strings if you kind of follow the money, as we discuss a lot. With that being said, obviously it's disturbing when we see, gerrymandering, violation of rights. Like I'm not a fan of gerrymandering. I hate it. I think it should be outlawed, but I don't think I think the Democrats have no choice. I think they have to respond. I'd like to see them respond in kind and then pass legislation to make it illegal so it doesn't happen again ever. Yeah. Other than that, again, as we're talking about cracks in the cult, the thing that's always amazed me, and I've said this before, Republicans fall in line, Democrats fall in love. So without the leader at the top to fall in line behind, do they just not participate in the elections anymore? I mean, is that, do you think that's where it's going?
That has been a problem. That has been a real problem on the Democrat side. And honestly, when people like our friend Sean just try to be like, well, you and the blue MAGA and you and the left cult. And I'm like, who's the leader? Who's the,
exactly.
We don't have a leader right now. Like that's part of the problem. Part of why I got so excited about Kamala was I was like, oh, she, I think is capable of like leading, emotionally leading, if that makes sense. Like I think Joe Biden was a blank sheet of paper as far as charisma goes. Good president, but wasn't that like charismatic leader, right? And
totally agree.
And honestly, even when we were down there at the veteran sit-in, it is a very large charismatic influencer veteran dude, and people were just coming by to say like thanks for doing something, like thanks for leading something. Different people first time running for office, because there's no leadership. Like that's something that we can all do. But it is, I think we're all kind of waiting to see like who's gonna who's going to be the leader of this resistance? Or is it just going to be the people all just vote him out? You know what I mean? Or just like all push back at once?
Yeah, I mean, I sit here, I do this every day. I can't allow myself yet to believe that there's not going to be midterm elections. I mean, I can't allow myself to go there. Like, what's the point in doing this and trying to remind people about activism and advocacy and how democracies die with apathy, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I can't do that. I've not brought myself there yet. I'm concerned. Like, I feel like this is testing the waters of martial law. What would it look like? We can use this. We can use the Constitution to our advantage to stay in power by declaring national emergencies and martial law. And then we can justify not having elections. And I'm trying not to go there. I'm trying really hard not to go there.
So one of the things I keep telling my audience is there's no point at which 360 million people with 500 million pew-pews can't just boil over and decide to push back. Right?
Correct.
So even if he had the military marching up and down the streets with literal random firing squads, at any point, like, we can boil over and take the country back. So that's where I come from in the most extreme of language, of people just being like, oh, we're cooked. Like, no. And to your point of keeping hope, like, there's a very good book, Man's Search for Meaning, which is written by a psychologist who survived H-Man and the camps. And I summarize the whole thing as, if you lose hope, you don't survive. And many people in bad situations who keep hope don't survive. But if you lose hope, you're not going to survive. And exactly what you said, like, democracies are, it's a little bit of pushback all of the time. I've been studying the Brazilian military dictatorship and talking about it with people because the country sort of took down their own military dictatorship by voting, like in a bloodless coup, by individual local politicians pushing back. And this is something I recently heard a Brazilian professor talking about, like, the opposite of a dictatorship of any kind is local politicians operating under self-interest, right? Because if it's a military dictatorship, it's supposed to be only for the good of the country. And if it's a personal dictatorship, it's supposed to be, only for the good of Donald Trump. So individual politicians, but also individual citizens, just operating under self-interest, right? Like, they can make a law that says put the 10 commandments in every school, like they have in Texas, but they can't actually enforce that law, right? Literally, them and what army are going to go into every school in America and make sure that's happening. So individuals can just not do it. And individual schools and individual organizations have a lot of power to push back, but we have to do it.
Exactly.
And I mean, the good news is, I think the pushback is happening, right? So, like, the veteran who got arrested burning the flag got released. Jay, I got to go hang out with him. Got released in under 24 hours. They're still hassling him, right? The Secret Service is giving his family a hard time, but, like, he was released on a misdemeanor, and the DC grand jury failed to indict. They also failed to indict the ham sandwich throwing guy.
Yes.
Right? So, like, in Pinochet's Chile, students who got rolled up were not being released in under 24 hours with little harm done to them, right? So there is, in H-Man's march to power, like, nobody was suing him for using the Gestapo the way that the DC police are, so right now we are still in a place where people are trying to use the rules and use the structure and use the checks and balances to stop him. We might get to a place where it gets to be more outside of the rules, individual people pushing back, but
the tyrannical government, right? The whole 2A lie that's been told the American people for years. Let's see if it actually, like, where are the libertarians? So I want to know.
I keep saying this to people. I'm like, you say you're American, you care about freedom. Like, you might have to go get arrested or go, put your money where your mouth is.
Do you think, in a strange way, Daniela, that it was almost, and I'm going to be careful how I say this, it was almost, in a way, necessary for him to win the election because it would be the demise of the MAGA cult sooner? You know where I'm going with that? It almost like seems like it was necessary in a way?
I absolutely do. So one thing I learned from the Black woman that I have a podcast with, our podcast is called Hey White Women, and after the election, she said, I don't think America has earned its Black woman president yet. And I think this is a good point, right? Like that probably will be the most healing thing for America to have a Black woman president, and maybe we have not earned that yet. And I think we would have destroyed her. But I do think that this is the extinction burst, even just with writing my book, which is called The Culting of America, I didn't imagine that this is the landscape I was going to be putting this out in. This is like a 5 to 7 year research book, right? And I really thought I was going to be putting this out in a quiet way under a Kamala presidency where those of us that study this stuff were dissecting like how close we came to the Christian extremist cult having the country. But instead, here we are. And people like me have been warning about this for 50 years. I was terrified in 2012 when Mormons were a step away.
Yeah, good point.
But I do kind of think it's like, this is what had to happen, and Ta-Nehisi Coates, I think it's in his essay book, Between the World and Me, but he says, if Barack Obama was the first Black president, Donald Trump is the first white president. And we are on this side of the pendulum swing of having a Black president followed by 2 women almost getting, right? 2 women being the most qualified candidates we've ever had for president and almost getting there. And then kind of the white supremacist men who run the world going, oh crap, like we can't have this. I also think, like, my personal opinion, like they were all at Diddy's parties, right? Like all the rich, powerful people in our country were doing all this messed up stuff in the 90s and the aughts. And they're now looking and going, oh crap, like history's not going to judge us kindly. And so we're going to have to yank and grab and try. But like I was saying about cult leaders, I also don't know of any dictators who rose to full power with like less than 30% of the population supporting them.
Right. I mean, you and I have discussed this before about the shifting of the Overton window. It's like the pendulum's going to swing. Obviously, we're seeing that in little pockets of success here and there. But I always go like, sure, it's maybe necessary for the system to topple on itself. But we always know that the marginalized communities are the ones, even when things are going well, marginalized communities suffer the most. So there is going to be collateral damage connected to this. We can expect that. And it sadly, it just, I guess it has to happen. I'm not sure how else to describe it. To your point, it almost has to happen for us to have any semblance of a brighter future under, a change of the system. Because I think we can agree the system does need to change. It has to change. I mean, democracy requires people to be responsible to exist in it, right?
And I think honestly, like everyone, all of us, like we got complacent. Right. Exactly. Like, I'm so mad that they didn't, like, they promised to put, Roe v. Wade into law. Like, why didn't they do it? Right. They're like, I think we're going to actually realize, like, there are some things that we just need to push through, as you said, right. Like, whether that's like, take the House and the Senate, stack, next time we have the presidency, stack the courts, and then pass things into law that are law.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, like, I got heartened studying about the Brazilian military dictatorship, which, by the way, I was growing up there in the aftermath of the dictatorship. And
that's right.
They built a better system of freedoms than we have in the U.S. now. Like, they have a better democracy currently in Brazil than we have now, with more individual freedoms, more social programs, etc. So I do think this is kind of like the descent or the reminder, like as the pendulum swings, we get this reminder of how close we can get to losing all this stuff again. Like, we literally have national politicians talking about repealing women's right to vote. which seems absolutely insane from where this country supposedly is or was. But, and again, the good news is like a year and a half after they took away medical care from all women, we dropped below the birth replacement rate. Right? Like
I just saw that.
People are pushing back.
Exactly.
We're like, well, just stop making more of you then. Like, if you're going to be like this,
That's really good. I read that story about how it came down to money. People just can't afford to have kids in our country anymore, which I think speaks to everything. I always say this: it's follow the money. It's behind everything that we see. It's interesting too. I'm curious about this, and you might have mentioned this before, and I might have missed it. But like the immediate aftermath, right? So if we get the news and it's the world news that the president's passed away, whatever that is, and I'm speaking hypothetically speaking, the immediate aftermath, in your opinion, is what?
I mean, I hope I find out from parties in the streets based on where I live. I think it's going to be a very real aftermath. And then I keep trying to imagine what it's going to be like in the red places. I think there's going to be, there's just, when a cult leader unalives, there's just a big hullabaloo. Certainly there will be a faction that refuses to believe it. I don't think that's going to be everyone at all. And also just the fact that he's the president, right? He'll, in theory, lie in state, and there's ways for it to be confirmed. So, it's honestly, and even as far as the keeping his unaliving a secret, right? As soon as the president becomes incapacitated, there's a new president. And so anyone actually trying to keep these secrets is sort of illegally staging a coup. And I think that makes
under normal conditions. Well, under normal conditions.
Yes. Yeah, but I think during the information age, with the next guy having a vested interest in getting into the office, I think that it would be hard to do. Not that they won't try to do it. And often, again, because the leadership of a cult knows in a cult of personality that their power goes away if the head guy goes away. I just heard that they kept Hugo Chavez's unaliving quiet for like 3 months. And
really,
in our cult, it was 6 months. And actually our cult leader tried to tell his follow-on leader to just never tell anyone about it and keep it silent. But this is like, I love it so much when cult leaders get caught in their own net. And because he is so chronically online and so chronically in the news all of the time, here we are, like any other president, if we hadn't heard from them for 3 days, the entire country would not be flipping out. But he has trained his audience, which at this point is all of us, to expect to see him every day. That was one of my predictions that I made. I was like, he's going to be in the news every day. Every day. So,
because he needs it. Like the narcissist needs to be fueled, right?
Yes,
that's their fuel.
Yes. Yep. He needs it. By the way, again, all of this, I think he drank a little bit too much of his own Kool-Aid. He's chronically online, so he's seeing all these people saying he's a dictator already. And I think he forgot that he needs the people, and he, as we know, right, like he despises his followers.
He does.
And he forgot that. And he forgot he was supposed to be hiding that. And he let that show. And I think that is a very big deal.
Did you happen to see the JD Vance video that was released over the weekend? First of all, from a political perspective, I've never seen a VP at this point in their term do something that was a bona fide campaign ad. That's exactly what it was. And the way I looked at it with my marketing PR brain was, I'm connecting the dots here. I'm JD Vance's team. I'm going to align JD Vance with Donald Trump as much as I can to say he's the greatest president in history. I got your back, MAGA. Don't worry. The same things will happen. It blew me away to see that. And I'm thinking, okay, that to me was a tell. Yes. That to me was a tell that they got a lot of information that's not going public. Would you agree?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, from the beginning, like there's every chance that an 80-year-old man doesn't survive for 4 years. So I would hope that, like, from the beginning, like, they have understood that they need to try to make this thing. I just think they chose the wrong guy.
They sure did. Yeah, when you tell your boss years ago, when you align your boss, or you say your boss is America's H-man, probably not a good look to continue that legacy.
Yeah, just like I know everyone thinks there's like all this power behind the throne and blah blah blah, and like that's true. But first of all, like Stephen Miller is not just like intelligence classes above everyone else. Like, no. We know that fundamentalism damages the brain, right? Like, they're not that good at being dictators in the first place. And
good point.
They absolutely picked the wrong front man. And like, if Peter Thiel knew how to build and lead a cult, he would have done it. Just, ask Elon Musk how buying charisma goes. Like they need the front man, right? Like nobody heard about the Heritage Foundation before they had their front man, right? Like Peter Thiel has had companies worth billions for forever, right? Like if he could do the WeWork guy thing, he would have done it. So like there's nobody to take over, right? So even when like the only really cult of personality I can think of that was successfully handed down was North Korea. And that was a country that had already achieved almost perfect isolation and had the whole military. And this is like the last thing that I'll leave you all with is like, let us not forget that the US Army said, sir, we will burn down our 250th birthday party so that you can't have it. Right? At this point, if he could put any of the rest of the military on America's streets, he would be doing it, right? He tried with the Marines in LA and he could only use them to guard federal buildings, right? So like he is not at full dictatorship yet. However people want to define that, it doesn't happen without disarming the American people. And that it takes 66 years to take all of our weapons if we're standing in line. And then you would have to do something with the mountain of weapons that you built. So like he's not going to get to a full dictatorship that we can't push back from, but like he doesn't have the military. And this is something that I also learned from diving back into the Latin American and Asian dictatorships. Like when you have a military takeover, which everyone seems to be waiting for and is not going to happen here, you have a military political class. We don't have that, right? We in the US military geographically abuse our soldiers by moving them all around the country and all around the world every couple years, specifically to the purpose so that officers cannot develop charismatic followings. And we also don't allow any active duty military anyone to hold political positions, right? So we don't have this like military class that is coming up to take over, which in this case is good because often that military class can side with the dictator, right? We don't have that here. And then we also have in our army the incredible safety to the American people that it is an all volunteer army and nobody can make you obey an order that is illegal or immoral. Pilots, by the way, don't have to fly ever. She can just wake up and be like, sir, I'm feeling witchy today and Mercury is in ascension. So I'm not going to fly. Right. And like he can put all these evil generals and admirals and whatever he wants in place, but they're not getting anywhere without their drivers and their pilots. And those are us, right? Those are everyday American people, Gen Z. That's who's in the military. And the United States military is one of the most diverse organizations in the world. People my age, my generation, our generation, millennials, like those are the battalion commanders in the military. And you're not doing military operations in a modern technological army without 80% of your force. And 20% is women, by the way. I do want to give people this thing that like, even if he tried the martial law thing, the people would win. But he doesn't have the military. And there's never been in the modern world a country that has gone from democracy to dictatorship without the military being on board. So for America, like, just take the military out of this political equation, right? Like, they're not coming to save us, but they're also not really able to be mobilized and turned against us. Because
do you mean like he doesn't have the military ideologically from a support perspective? He's got the command and control, commander in chief side, but he doesn't have the.
And I don't think he understands our military at all, right? I think he has spent his life studying dictators and the militaries of dictators. So our military operates under a command and control doctrine called mission command, which we took, incidentally, from the people that almost beat everyone in World War II. The Germans. So we took their command and control because World War I and II were our first kind of like high tech wars, right? And in a war where you are not having everyone standing on a line and having a general say, fire, right? Like, how do you command and control from the top and still say agile? Russians say, no, we don't. Every decision is made from the top. If the lieutenant gets gets unalived on the battlefield, you wait until they send a new lieutenant down. Meanwhile, the U.S. military operates on Auftragstaktik, mission command, which means you push the decisions down to the lowest level. So in my book, we have an ambush and all of the leadership is taken out. And the colonel is, yelling on the radio. He's like, give me a leader. And there's this private who literally gets on the radio and says, sir, I'm it. Like, you're dealing with me, give commands, let's roll, right? And so that is our military. And so it is not, I always said, like, when I was a 25-year-old captain who was the senior intelligence officer, if I'd received an order to collect intelligence on Canada so we could roll in there, I would be like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to let you in your secret vault either, sir. And sure, you could take me away, but there's only 3 other people in the unit that can do that. Like, we have really specifically created our military so that, yes, it is command and control from the top, but so that a tyrant cannot grab it by the top and drive it. This is also true for elections, right? There's no federal mechanism to cancel elections. This is also true for, like, police. We don't have the police. We have thousands of different municipalities. And so we have literally built, this is called routinization, built into America redundancies to make it very hard for this to happen. He's trying. And it's crazy how little pushback he's getting from our government and our leaders and our court. But there's just so much stuff built in, right? And even as bad as H-men got in World War II, like, paperwork still slowed them down.
Of all things.
Paperwork, bureaucracies, little politician who was the woman who just refused to leave her job when he fired her. And then, like, there had to be more stuff done. Like, all of that really, really matters right now.
You've given, as always, Daniela, you've given people a lot of hope. I just want to thank you. I know you got a lot going on. You want to plug your books? Please do that.
Oh, yeah. So I have written this book, Uncultured. It's my story of growing up in the Children of God religious cult and then going into the cult of the U.S. Army. I wrote Uncultured the last time the cult leader was running America. You can get signed copies from my shop, or you can get them anywhere you buy books. You can also listen to me read it to you on Spotify Premium or anywhere you listen to your books. It's in over 500 libraries. I have also on pre-sale, you have to go to my name, that plus the website. Trying not to get him any violations. In this book, I walk you through what makes a cult and then how it is just basically everywhere in America. That's what I've got for now. I'm doing another book called Un-American soon, and I'm also writing Cult Baby, the musical, Veterans Included.
I cannot thank you enough for joining. I really, really appreciate it. You can come back anytime. I really, really appreciate it. Gave people a lot of hope today, Daniela. Thank you very, very much for being here. I appreciate
Thank you so much. I mean, thank you for doing this every day. I hope you take some time off for yourself to balance. But
I do. I touch grass a lot. I'm big into grounding. I'm barefoot outside often, so I appreciate that advice. I certainly will.
I want to tell people this: like when you're in a cult that you cannot leave, and you think every day you might not survive, like you survive and you resist, right? And part of survival means finding joy and hope and rest and community. Literally, Jewish children doing Shakespeare plays for each other in the camps, right? Like you have to find joy and rest and community and hope. And then resistance, whatever that means for you. And my favorite form of resistance is color. Whether that is existing as a person of color in an America that hates you, or whether that's like white people working on being less beige and fascism chic and wearing lots of color and being loud and pushing back. Because like if you and I were the only two on the internet talking about a dictator, like we would be in a lot of danger. But
correct.
Americans are known to be loud and ornery and colorful jerks. And as long as we all keep doing that and like keep refusing to comply in advance, it is going to be, we are going to be able to stop them.
Thank you again, friend. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. See you later. Thanks again, Daniela. Bye-bye. Great. I mean, again, thank you, Daniela. I'll get some more details from her specifically around her books, and I'll provide some more context for you guys or some more information from her. But we're very fortunate that she's become, a friend of the show, so to speak. Just her background is amazing, growing up in the Children of God sex cult, becoming, an army officer. So just so many different nuances and just a lot of things that I think she said that we've never really thought about it because we've been conditioned to respond to the rhetoric, right? We've been conditioned to respond to all, and which is what we talk about here a lot, right? About how we're being distracted, but these things shouldn't be considered distractions. It is evil incarnate. We have people that are attempting to just violate our system that we own. They don't own it. We do. There's more of us than there are of them. And it was very comforting to hear her talk about it in terms of he does not own the military. He doesn't have it. He likes to think he does. He probably deep down inside knows he doesn't. And then that leads then into the cult speak, thinking he's the commander in chief and the military will do whatever he asks. I just think it's great. And I'm so grateful. Thank you again, Daniela. I appreciate you. It was awesome. Yes, thank you for being part of that for my birthday too. I really appreciate you for doing that. I got a few more guests and we'll get to some more topics of the day. Everybody keep tapping, please. Hey, Drew, how are you?
Hey, bud. Good morning. She is great.
I agree. Very lucky to become a friend. I agree. She's awesome.
Hey, I had asked to join back when you were talking about Gruden. I almost forgot that I was in the queue, but I wanted to remind folks. I know that not everybody here follows sports ball, but the reason that he's not currently coaching is because of racism. He was a lot of emails, a lot of correspondences. He was denigrating the intelligence of his players with melanin. That's why he's not currently coaching right now. He's trying to get back into it, but people keep pushing back, and he's doing things like this. So this is the guy that they're using as their alibi.
Good point.
Just as a quick reminder to people. But I wanted to tell you a little.
Go for it. No, go for it.
A quick little story because when I first got out of school, I taught. I taught for a couple of years before I moved on, and I worked in a private school in Tampa, Florida, and I worked with a woman named Kathy Gruden, who happens to be John Gruden's mother, and Jay Gruden, who's his brother, also coached. Her husband was a scout for the 49ers for many years. But an amazing lady. She had been teaching for like 30, 40 years, something like that. She actually retired while I was there. But you know how he has those really blue eyes, John Gruden?
He does. Yes,
he does. He gets those from his mother. I don't think I ever met the father, but she has those really piercing blue eyes and really neat lady. But I had never really seen him coach. He was coaching the Raiders when I started teaching there, and I'd never really seen him coach. And I watched a Monday Night Football game, and I saw him on the side, and I'm watching him. And like when you know somebody, like you know their family or something, it's kind of an interesting way of looking at things. So I approached her the next morning. I said, hey, I watched John last night. I hadn't seen him coach. I saw him on the sidelines, and I'm like, I see where he gets a lot of his expressions from. Because, having known her and watching her and everything, I could see a lot of her in him. You know what I mean? So
okay. Interesting.
She kind of rolled her eyes, looked at me, and gave me that piercing blue smile. And the piercing blue eyes and that big smile, and she said, honey, I hope I never look that mean.
Oh, my gosh. He's been known for that scowl, right?
They called him Chucky. Yeah, they called him Chucky
did.
because he has that constant frown, and he had kind of that youthful expression, and the hair used to flop over and everything. But I just wanted to bring that story up because she was an amazing lady, and I do say we have to remember why he's not coaching, and it's weird that they're using him as their excuse.
That's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Drew. Yeah, I mean, just before Daniela joined, we had that guest on, and I did not come up here and make any claims about the president's passing. I know there was a lot of rumors circulating. There's a lot of hashtags about that kind of stuff. I was simply just asking questions. Like, let's draw some comparisons here. Let's draw some conclusions. And you can see the desperation. Like they come in already desperate to try to say, well, Tiger Woods, this. I mean, again, it's. If that's how far you need to go, because everything in your mind is a conspiracy out to get Trump, you can't even have any level of just like, okay, let's unpack this a little bit. Just an unwillingness to do that. And to your point, right? If it's John Gruden, like we wouldn't be having this controversy if there were different color shirts. We wouldn't be. We wouldn't be drawing these parallels. We wouldn't. I mean, it's just we can't. The truth hurts sometimes, I guess.
And Gruden's a perfect one to do that with because he's trying. Like if you've seen him lately, like he's been getting on social media, he's been in podcasts. He's trying to get back into the public eye, and so he's not going to publicly come out and speak out against the administration because he knows that they'll blast him, and then he'll be put back. He won't even have the support of the MAGA folks anymore. He'll be put back in the corner, and he won't be able to make his big comeback, which he's trying to do. So I mean, he's an ideal patsy right now. It's like, oh, let's, this guy can't fight back, so we're going to use him as an excuse, and he's not going to contradict us. But that caller showed that MAGA men are too emotional. That's for sure. Oh,
no doubt about it. Thank you for jumping in today, Drew. I appreciate you, buddy.
Talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, buddy. It's something and something that Drew touched on, and Daniela alluded to it as well, right? About how the entire point of MAGA is Trump. That's the entire point behind it. Because when Sean tried to accuse the left of being in a cult, I asked the same question that she asked: who's the leader? Who's the leader of the Democratic Party right now? Ask yourself that question. Who is it? Here you go. There's 1,300 people in here. Who's the leader of the Democratic Party right now? We're going to get a variety of answers. And the whole point of a cult is that there is a leader, right? You point to someone there at the top of the pyramid. I know a lot of questions. Newsom with question marks. Really? He doesn't have any power. He could be maybe the potential leader, right? But not the leader. Doodle. I mean, exactly. There are many. Therefore, it's not a cult by design. So in John Gruden's case, right, he's probably going to be like, I don't want to be connected to that because I need to thank you. That's very sweet. It's me? Okay, whatever. Sure. No problem. I mean, I don't even have any powers in the matriarchal commune. So it's not me. I don't have any power at all. I'm told where to go, when to go there, and then sit in the corner. And occasionally I get snacks. Occasionally. I'm just saying. But I mean, from a reality perspective, right? There's no leader. So therefore it doesn't exist. I do get layer time. Thank you, Sam. I get a little bit of layer time. So when we're attempting to kind of see what's going to happen when whatever the inevitable, because according to Joni Ernst, we're all going to die. By the way, she's no longer running for Senate. She's going to retire from the Senate in Iowa. Who's then to step in? Because there's no one in the Republican Party. No one. There's never been anyone in the Republican Party who will generate the loyalty and devotion that Trump did. Now, I will say this, that in and of itself will be studied forever. And if I'm going to be objective, and I will give credit where credit is due, the fact that he got so many people to be so loyal and so dedicated to him, millions of people, based on absolute lies. Absolute lies. And Daniela said it best, right? We talked about this. It doesn't matter what he says or what he does. They are loyal to him to a fault. And there is no one else that can do that. So who do you go to next? Who do you turn to? There's no one. There's no one like him. There never will be. So you're seeing, and again, none of us know. None of us know what's going to happen the next day or the day after that. But no one is going to be able to fill those shoes. It's not like it's a normal administration, the passing of a president, the keys are handed to someone else. And something she also said, I think, is really important. Our system requires somebody to be in charge. So they can't hide it. They are hiding his health. There's no doubt about it. They are doing it. It's happening in real time. Now, if you want to make the case and you want to make the argument that the Democrats did the same thing with Joe Biden, fine. I'll give you that. I have no issue because I'm not in a cult. I can be critical of the people that I vote for because they fucking work for me. They work for me. You guys have heard me be public here. I'm not a big Joe Biden fan because I'm sick and tired of status quo Democrats. But I will give credit where credit's due. Passed some of the most significant legislation in our history. A very effective president. I want boring. But he was a wet napkin, right? No charisma whatsoever. No charisma. And we've got to get back to that almost a little bit, right? We've almost got to get back to that a little bit. Whether it's Gavin Newsom or some no name, we don't even know. People like James Tallarico, we don't know. We don't know, but we need to push to kind of get back to a little bit of, I'm not going to say normalcy because I don't want status quo. I don't want that anymore. I want to push for things. That's why I continue to try to remind you guys, stop settling for table scraps. And I again, something she said, I think it's really, really, really true. We almost deserved this to have it happen, right? We almost deserved it because we became apathetic, fat, selfish, arrogant, entitled as a country. I can't be bothered to vote. I can't be bothered to participate. I can't be bothered to contact my elected officials. I can't be bothered to volunteer. And this is kind of what we got now, right? So did we deserve it? We probably did. We probably deserve to have this happen. And like I've said a million times, the struggle that I find, because even when things are going really, really well in our country, and again, really well economically, there's people at the bottom that are always going to suffer. Every single marginalized community is going to suffer if things are going well. So it's going to it may get bad for a little while. It can't get any worse than it's kind of getting now, but it's the awakening, I guess you can call it. I've got a lot less road ahead of me than I do behind me, but I'd like to be around to see what that would look like. I would like to see what that would look like because I still believe that. I still believe the power in us. Again, what the right tends to forget about is the we the people argument. We the people of the United States, in order for more perfect unions, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessing of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain as established the Constitution. That shit, that's us. That's us. That's not them. That's not them. That's not book burners. That's not Christo-fascists. That's not autocrats. That's not authoritarians. It's us. Good or bad. Doesn't matter your color, doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter your gender, your ideology, your religion, your faith, it doesn't matter. It's still us. And there are more of us than there are of them. We can never forget that. And I got a lot of hope from that conversation and talking to Daniela. I hope you guys did too. So thank you for letting me get up in the soapbox. Oh, I see Moth. Hello. I wasn't expecting to see you.
Well, hello.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I just woke up a little bit ago, and I'm glad that I did, so I could actually join in for once.
Well, thank you.
I've been missing everybody.
What's on your mind today, friend?
Not much. I just thought I would hop up here and do an announcement because it's been a hot fucking minute since I've done so. And of course, just to, say hi to you because it's been forever.
It has been a hot minute.
I've just been so busy with this new position at work. I have been running around like a mad person. So, but I'm off today, so I finally get some time to spend with everybody.
Thank a union worker.
But yeah, while I'm up here, let's see if I still got it. But I see that those likes are up we're almost at 360K, but I know we can get those up to at least 400. Shares are going good too. We're at 325. If we could get those up to at least 400 as well, we're staying pretty even with the likes and the shares, which is good. But let's get those going. Because if nobody knows, and I'm sure everybody does know, but in case you're just joining us, it is Steve's birthday, so let's treat him. He still has a little bit to go on his goal there, so let's get that down. And if you're feeling generous, let's give him a little extra because it's his birthday. And Steve,
yes,
because it's your birthday. And because it's been so long since I've been up here, just for you, I'm going to embarrass myself a little bit.
Oh boy.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Zaddy Steve. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Moth. I love you, friend. You know that. I appreciate you very much for doing that. I appreciate you doing that. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks for jumping in today. I appreciate you. It's good to see you.
Of course.
I'll talk to you soon. All right, you got it. That was sweet. Thank you, guys. And just some quick thank yous. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you so very, very much. Birthday wishes. Thank you, Julianne. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, Laura. Again, thank you, Dana. Thank you, Leah. You guys are great. Thanks for helping that. That's I just will say thank you. So what we should be striving for, and again, you guys are very, very kind. I appreciate you. My hope from the things that we talk about, actually, my kids took me to the fair last night. We had a wonderful time. It was amazing. Carnival rides and blooming onions and just like ridiculously yummy and stuff that I shouldn't eat, fair food. It was amazing. We had an incredible night last night, and I'm super grateful. There's going to be people that are just unwilling to accept the reality, which is why the question is being asked today, when will MAGA believe the truth? The truth is the president has been absent from public eye. There's no denying that. It's not up to us to convince them. So friends, why bother? Right? I didn't go into the right-wing spaces this weekend in an attempt to convince them of anything. I went there to embarrass them. I went there to show them how unbelievably misinformed and ignorant they are. That's why I went there. And I'm not going to pull punches anymore. The people that vote and support this particular movement have harmed people that I care about, harmed communities that I care about, harmed a system that I think can be better who don't care. And it was me against 8, and I don't give a fuck. I'll do it all day long. None of them will ever come and have a conversation here. All they do is crash out. They survive in an echo chamber because they need each other to keep the lie alive. They need each other to keep pumping up their own tires, convincing each one of them that they are on the correct side of history. They are not. They are not. They never will be. Anybody that even questions the circumstances of a case involving a serial sexual assaulter and blames a jury and blames a judge are despicable human beings. Steve, what's that true? Steve can do it all day long. MAGA only about 7 seconds. Thank you, Drew. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Hey now.
Anyway, so I just want people to remember that. I think it's really, really important for people to remember that. And like we talk about this, this is no judgment of any other creators. People do their own thing, but let's keep in mind what the goal is here. The goal is that we've got work to do. To Daniela's point, you can't sit by the sidelines anymore, friends. You just can't. You cannot just go about your life thinking it's status quo. You don't want to be involved. You can't just go by not participating in democracy. You can't just go by not getting yourself involved in activism and supporting your communities, especially communities that are marginalized. Especially communities that are marginalized, because they're always the ones that are going to be harmed. Now, the right now wants to turn the events in Minneapolis into the epidemic of trans mass unalivings. The person who committed those crimes is a despicable fucking monster, period. I don't care where they come from, who they are, how they identify. I don't give a fuck. None of you should. The problem with the right is they can't face their own shit. They can't face their own shit. That over 90% of the similar kinds of events are perpetrated by cis, white, hetero men. They can't address it. They can't address the fact that the overwhelming majority of crime in our country occurs in red states. They can't address it. They can't address the fact that the poorest states from an educational outcome perspective are red states. They can't address it. So we will. We'll call the shit out every day. Every fucking day, we will call it out. We don't need them. We don't need them. Do you know why we don't need them? Because of what we're witnessing connected to the Epstein files and now Donald Trump's health. Because where are they going to go when they have no one to lead them? Literally, they are led by everything that Trump tells them to believe. Where are they going to go? Trump on True Social every single day, lying to his base every day. I don't give a fuck if they don't believe it. I don't care. We know. They will sit there in whatever platform they're in, or whatever safe space they're in, or whatever echo chamber that they're in. You can track it. Look at the True Social post. Listen to the topics they're discussing. Watch what's on Newsmax. It is the quintessential echo chamber. It is the quintessential echo chamber. That's what they do. They just sit around, stroke each other, and prop up their shit, get fucking angry, yell and scream, say horrible things about marginalized communities, blame everybody else for their own problems. They can fuck themselves. I don't give a fuck about them. I'm not going to break bread with them. I don't give a shit. They're now in the find out phase. People who can't govern rule. And in this case, it's Donald Trump ruling or attempting to rule, not governing. So when that whole house of cards crumbles, what's left? What's left are people like us, the collective, who've decided to step up, who've decided to say, I am going to demand that we overfund public education. I'm going to fucking demand that we stack the fucking court to swing the pendulum back so we can start preserving rights again. Expanding rights for our citizens, guaranteeing the wild radical concept that women can have rights to their fucking body, that kids don't starve, that we can guarantee access to health care, that we've got clean water and clean air and fucking shelter. Enough of this bullshit. Enough. I just got scolded by TikTok. Whatever. Don't care. Don't care. This is on us. This is literally on us. You heard Daniela say it. The concern that we have is not enough people will realize that. Not enough people will do it. Not enough people will step up and say, I'm going to do this. What am I going to do? Again, that's why we close the show every single day with do something. Best birthday present you can give me is saying you're committed to doing this. You're committed to doing whatever it takes to save your children's future. So we're talking about, it's not hyperbolic. Just want to sit by and celebrate. I do believe that there will be celebration when this is happening, because the people that are in the cult have no idea how unbelievably harmful and just horrible they become. And I can't help change people's minds other than doing this every single day. And I will do it. I'm committed to that because it's too important. It is incredibly important to me. And I know a lot of you all, that's important to you too. Right? I know it is. You show up every single day. You show up. When I'm not getting death threats, I'm getting kind words of encouragement, or people saying, these conversations inspire me to go out and help in my community. That's what I'm talking about. Conversations that happen organically, like when I go to Right Wing Spaces, I don't do it for the panel, the people that are on the panel. I do it because somebody might be coming through. Somebody might be a fan of one of those individuals and might hear opposition for the first time and say, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't know the information that came out because they live in this space where, the Biden administration didn't release anything regarding the Epstein case. Yeah, they did. Here's the information. When you mainline Newsmax, or when you mainline these echo chambers in TikTok, and you get no resistance whatsoever and you get no opposition, then you're going to be by design an echo chamber. I'll talk to anybody. I've proven that, but I'm not going to platform bullshit. I'm just not. I tried with Sean. All he did was rage quit. That's it. He just wanted to yell, hear himself talk. I'm starting to be convinced that there's no one left whose mind we can change, that are deep in the MAGA cult. Now, I think there are people who are lost politically that we can influence to participate in democracy. That's my goal. That's where my focus is. My focus is getting people who've been apathetic about democracy, realizing that your apathy is just as much to blame as MAGA is. And folks, you got to wear it. Okay? You got to wear it. You've got to stop saying my vote doesn't matter. It does. You've got to stop saying somebody else will do it, because they may not. You've got to stop saying, what's the big deal? Well, it is a big deal, because other people are depending on you. Other people are depending on you. That includes everybody from all walks of life. Stop expecting somebody else to carry your water and do it yourself. Okay? That would be that's my plea. That is my plea. If you want to give me a birthday present, do that. Or socks. Good morning, my brother. How are you today?
Hello there.
Nope.
Greetings and salutations.
Hello, sir.
Well, fucking well. Happy birthday, you goddamn communist.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. I know, so fucking radical that I care about women's bodies and water and food. So radical.
Yeah. So radical that it's actually not radical.
I know. Isn't it wild?
Yeah.
It's wild.
I topped off a little bit there in your Cash App, so you can go buy yourself a bottle or a bag of something nice, or a lid.
Thank you, buddy.
It's up to you.
3-finger dime bag.
That's right, baby.
Thank you, pal. That's very kind, Obi. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
I bet you if you walked into a store and did that, nobody behind the counter would know what the fuck it was that you were saying. Right.
Char and thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. No, you're absolutely right. You could literally go into a dispensary and say, "Hey, can I get a 3-finger dime bag?" They're like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Never mind. I'm old."
Yeah. Hey, so me and our wife are going to be in New England tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I know. I'm thinking Wednesday. Depending on your schedule, we can talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay. Also, let's be ready for tomorrow.
Exactly. I'm ready.
We got to do some strategery tomorrow. And by the way, once again, please allow me to do a little capitalism for you. If you have a new company, like I have, because running one company wasn't enough, apparently I needed to start a second one because I have issues. And you want to talk strategy, and you want to understand communication, and you want to understand where it is that you have shortcomings. And I'm not just talking about in your boxer briefs, I'm talking about in your briefs and presentations. Hire Steve.
Hey now.
Hire him. He can sit down and understand what it is that you're trying to communicate, what it is that you're trying to get across to a customer. And then he can look at you and say, my dude, you are incapable of being concise. And then you have to sit there in your uncomfortable diapers and go, God damn it, and throw a fit like Trump, and then realize you aren't able to be concise. But that's why you hire a guy like Steve, because a guy like Steve is able to take information, even if he isn't a subject matter expert on it, and condense it into digestible sound bites. So if you find yourself in the middle of the night worrying what to do with a presentation, or you're running for a political office, or you're participating in any kind of capitalism and you feel like you need a voice, fucking hire Steve. He's not just a pretty face here on TikTok, although his face is very pretty, especially while wearing salmon, aka pink. But, you know, help a fucking brother out, right?
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And by the way, I would never say anything that directly harsh. It would be subtle. Like we were joking when we were on a call together. We were joking that I was virtually shin kicking him.
Well, you really were via text.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I
exactly
think we're
right.
losing them.
Yeah. You know, the hook's in the mouth. Pull.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry. Go. You have something to say?
You had asked an interesting question via text.
Yes. So I was curious because in case you don't know, once a sailor, always a sailor. Does that apply? Once a Marine, always a Marine. I'm not sure if the same thing applies, but
I had asked. The oath doesn't expire.
Exactly. So I had asked Obi just to kind of some questions about. So in case you don't know, again, not a intended to be a distraction, but people will get distracted by it because we now have Navy warships off the coast of Venezuela. So I don't know. I don't know what all that means. And the question I asked Obi is like, what would people be doing? Like, what would the sailors be doing? What have they been told they're going to be doing? And what might we expect from something like that? And I know you may not have all the answers, but I was just curious from a Swabby's perspective.
Yeah, I think let's go back to what Daniela has taught us and told us. For those of you that aren't...
That was great, by the way, huh? That was so awesome. My gosh.
Yeah. For those of you that aren't veterans or haven't directly served, and with due respect, a family member serving is not the same. So you won't get certain things. You'll have insight, but you just won't get certain things. When you wear a uniform, doesn't have to be in the military. You could be a fireman, you could be a cop, you could be a postal employee, right? There's a certain hive mindset that borders on the cult, right? And it's essential in the military to have these features, right? These are not necessarily bad features, right? And Daniela has a great way of kind of parsing out those differences, right? Because you have to have a mindset for unit cohesion, right? Because you're all doing one thing. So sailors are going to get up like they do every single day, right? They're going to get up, they're going to have breakfast, they're going to do their daily duty, they're going to stand watch, they're going to go to bed, and then rinse and repeat, right? I think the weird thing is, in particular with this exercise, is I don't know what you could tell a sailor today that wouldn't be so contradictory. Because on one hand, right, we're constantly bad-mouthing and supporting the wrong people in Venezuela, but then DHS wants to keep sending people there. We keep talking about how the price of gas at the pump keeps going down. By the way, when Trump took office, the week before, This is anecdotal, but it'll serve a purpose. The week before, the cash price for gas at the station that's 2 blocks from my house was $3.75. He took the oath; it instantly went to $3.85. Today it's $4.10. So I don't know where the fuck gas is going down, but it sure as hell is not Los Angeles County. That much I can tell you. And we have more customers than most states have people.
That's true.
So
That's true.
we have always wanted to get back to Venezuela as a country because we're a country of colonizers and natural resource thieves. So is it
You good for a second? You good for a second? I'll be right back.
Yeah, of course. Is it to take over the oil and gas industry in Venezuela? I don't know. I don't know what the purpose is. Because on one hand, we're saying that we have this partnership with Venezuela and that we can send people there to occupy their prisons. And then we're now sending an amphibious group and a couple of destroyers off the coast of Venezuela. So I had to ask myself, given all of the things, what is it, right? What is the possible logic behind this outside of a pure distraction from the e-files and the fact that it is beyond obvious that Trump is physically ailing, and is in really shitty health, right? I don't wish congested heart failure on anyone. I watched my grandparents go through that. It's a pretty shitty way to pass on to the next phase. So outside of a distraction, outside of the amount of money that we pay Venezuela to house prisoners, the only thing that I believe this could come down to is some kind of a play for natural resources, right? Like Trump's going to amass this amphibious group, amphibious group off the coast of Venezuela, and then try to strike some deal. But the problem is, Trump really made a horrible error in judgment the other day. And I don't know if you've talked about this yet, Steve, but he was being interviewed and he basically said that, he really thought he had something going with Zelensky and Putin, but then had to basically admit nothing's happened, right? And in that moment of self-reflection, which I'm not going to consider a weakness because it's one of those few times in Trump's life where he's actually acted like a decent human being, even if it was only for a minute and 30 seconds. The world is watching him do that. And the world now knows that he is fragile and weak and mentally incapable of carrying forward not only the oath to the office of the presidency, but to be an impactful world leader. So outside of wanting to steal the oil from Venezuela, there's no purpose behind this. Now, I will say that in my 8 years in the Navy, we did sometimes have these exercises and we all were like, WTF, like, what's the point, right? And then some will argue, oh, this is all about readiness or this is all about doing that. But when it comes to Venezuela, I guarantee you at some point in time, we're going to learn, and this is my prediction, and I'll if I'm wrong, I'll wear a Yankees hat, but only for about 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, what?
If I'm wrong, I'll wear a Yankees hat, but only
I
for
heard
10
you.
minutes.
Oh, I heard you.
This is me feeling fairly confident that I'm not wrong.
Okay. I mean, I think a wrinkle to this thing of what you're saying is that there's this $50 million reward out for Maduro's capture, or I'm not sure if it's dead or alive, but so you think you're right. So I guess the larger question for me, Obi, is that, we're in a situation, and we've talked about this a lot about the UCMJ. And as Daniela said, Trump doesn't have the military. And I agree with her. I mean, I never really thought about it that way. I never really thought about it that way. I'm not sure if you agree with her statement there. I never thought about it the way in which she described it. Yes, on paper, he's the commander in chief. but he doesn't have the military, right? Because of the UCMJ, because of a variety of things. So now we've got, Marines and sailors out on U.S. warships out off the coast of Venezuela. All of a sudden, if an order comes down to invade, what happens? Do people just not go? Do they decide, I'm not going, I don't support this? I mean, those are the kinds of things that most of us don't know. Like if you were in that position, and I'm not asking you to go back to your time when you were there, but if you were in the position now and you were opposed to the, I know you're supposed to be apolitical by design, but we're also humans, right? We also have biases and we also have things that we care about. What would you do, or what can you do? And I know people can go to Leavenworth and whatever else, but it just seems like a weird time now when you're trying to do whatever you're going to do in Venezuela. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, personally, having spent quite a bit of my 8 years in Central and South America, if I were to think back to a much younger, better looking, better physical body, Obi, than the one that I'm looking at now. God, I look good in dress blues.
Sorry. Good resist.
I really do like that song, by the way. Guilty pleasure of mine. I probably would have bitched, moaned, and complained, but I also understood that I had a job to do.
That's fair. And
I think where it comes to senior officers, to line officers, right? 06s and above, or 06 and above, they have a very difficult decision to make. Because while the United States doesn't give a single fuck about the world court, some of these officers that are near general or near admiral promotions, they may not wish to have their careers end like this. Because to invade a sovereign nation again, right, under false pretenses again, we've talked about this. We have fucked around with other nation states for 141 years. Eventually, we need to stop, right? And I think what it's going to take is it's going to have to come from a flag officer, so who was ever in charge of that amphibious group, which is going to have Fleet Force Marines and boat guys like myself, right? To basically say, like, I can't do that. Right now, they're going to get instantly relieved of duty. Like there won't even be a pause. But there's no legitimate purpose militarily to be there. And let us not forget, whose fault is it that this guy's still the president of Venezuela?
Really good point.
Right? This is all Trump's fault. Had Trump stayed out of the way and backed the candidate that had actually won and put the full force of the U.S. military from a posturing perspective behind the appropriate candidate, this dictator wouldn't be in power. So what does this dictator know that we don't? Again, I don't know what other word there is than distraction. But don't you find it interesting, the timing of this between the e-files and what does this guy know? So there's this imaginary reward. First of all that reward shit's bullshit. Like that is like so fucking pirate ship, find the X, get a treasure kind of thing. You've got to be a real fucking moron to believe that anyone ever gets paid that shit, right? And I'm talking even from the FBI. It doesn't exist, right?
Agreed. I mean, our president's trying to shortchange the National Guard by shortening their stay in D.C. by 1 day so they don't get housing benefits. Okay, MAGA, I don't know if you know that. We'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I think you're right. I think you're right. From a big picture perspective. So there's rumors. People in the chat are saying, in the mod chat are saying that there's BBC is talking about this is they're gearing up for an invasion. I'm not going to make that claim. I don't know. We'll investigate this and find that out. To what end? To Obi's point, it's about resources. Now, again, a wartime footing potentially gives the president to do different things. We already know that the appellate court has shot down the entire tariff dilemma, meaning that basically everything that he's done regarding this is illegal because what he used was IEPA, the International Economic Emergency Powers Act, I think is what it stands for. That was the justification. So think about this. Every single day he goes out there and talks about how great our economy is doing. If that were we know it's not. We know if that's his claim, then you cannot say it's an emergency to justify using tariffs. So he needs something else to avert the eyes of his base because the entire world of MAGA is crumbling right in front of our eyes. They don't want to see it. They're choosing not to. We got you. We'll remind you. Don't worry. We got you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, two things are going to happen before this year ends. The cult is going to absolutely implode because its leader just isn't making it for another year. Number one. Number two, JD Vance is literally so. Did you watch some of his interviews and how he got history wrong?
Absolutely. And did you see the campaign video? Wild.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Unless you know something's up. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And listen, you asked Daniela what was going to happen. I'm going to tell you immediately what's going to happen. JD's going to get in there and fire every single person that Trump hired because he won't want that stink on him. So they're all gone. The entire cabinet is going to be wiped out. And you know what he's going to do? Because Peter Thiel's going to get in his ear. He's going to put back in, like, in quotes, bureaucrats, adults.
Yep,
back
adults
in the room. Because
I don't disagree with that.
Peter Thiel needs that so that the Fed and New York and Chicago as kind of guideposts for the world's economy get righted once again.
Right, and let's be real about that. That's not a good thing, friends. We're not saying that's a good thing to have tech oligarchs running the government because we have a little bit of that influence now. Yeah. But I don't disagree with what you said about the Stephen Millers of the world, about the Russ Vaught's of the world, because
they're all gone.
There is no hope to save any semblance of Republican politics with those people in charge because they don't give a fuck about the country. They do not care. They do not give a flying fuck about in fact, the people that they despise the most are these people, are the hardcore MAGA supporters. The Christian nationalists, the fundamentalists, the people like Pete Hegseth, the people like Stephen Miller, they don't give a fuck about you, MAGA. They don't, neither does Trump. They don't care about you. They are using you to change the country, period. And they don't give a shit what happens to you. They are mocking you. They're sitting around their cauldron, boiling bat wings and eye of newt, laughing at you. Laughing at you. You think I'm wrong? We'll see. We'll see.
No, you're not wrong. And here's what we know. Once the entire cabinet is disassembled, right? Hello, our wife. The other thing too that's going to happen is the power over voters that MAGA and the GOP had will wash away. Because the cult will not show up and vote in the midterms.
They won't.
Exactly.
And
of course, now listen, the DNC is going to fuck this all up. So we're just going to have to be ready for them not to get this right.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that too. I mean, this is a call though. This is a call to people on the left. I'm encouraging you to put your petty grievances down, to put your pearl clutching aside, to stop being entitled, to stop looking for perfection and get your fucking asses to the poll and fucking vote. Period. I don't want excuses. I don't want any of it. I don't want any of it. I don't want your bullshit. I don't want your arguments against. I am telling you to get in fucking line or get the fuck out of the way. Period.
Yeah.
Period. No more pulling punches. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
And listen, I know a lot of people don't like my governor, and I'm fine with that. I happen to like him because I live in the state where he's been incredibly effective. Yes, I get it. He said some really stupid shit, and some of it's not forgivable. But guess what? I'm gonna look at everything else he's done and look at the things that people always point out, these people who claim to be progressives and who won't vote for him. You're still going to be the fucking problem. You've always been the problem. You will continue to be the fucking problem, because if he's the nominee and you don't get behind him, everything is on you. Everything. And I'm going to attack every single creator that comes on here and is like, well, he's problematic. No. He said some stupid shit. Yes. Problematic? No. That's a fucking bridge too far. Because the fact of the matter is, he is the CEO of the world's fourth largest economy. And
what's the alternative? What's the alternative, Obi? What's the alternative?
Right. There is no alternative.
Exactly.
There is nobody that could eviscerate the entire Republican structure other than Gavin. Now, listen.
Yeah, whomever the nominee is, to your point, whomever it is, it's likely going to be Gavin Newsom. And listen, as a progressive, I want a woman in the White House. That's what I want.
I do too, but it's not going to happen.
What we've seen, I don't think yet. I just don't think yet. Sadly, I just don't think that's going to happen yet. We've learned that lesson a couple times. So stop clutching the fucking pearls, friends. Seriously, I'm asking you to do that. Stop clutching the pearls. There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason that we cannot prescribe to the same type of get in line theory. Get in line. Remember, I'll steal Victoria's words. The Democratic Party, to me and to her and to others, is public transportation. It gets me closer to where I want to go.
Right.
And then it's up to us to finish the job, to pave the street. So get it fucking done. Get it done.
Yeah. And the question, one of the couple of times I've seen, would Gavin pick a woman to be the VP? Okay. I would support that. Show me one that has any interest in running for public office. Show me a woman today in any capacity that has what it takes to become the VP. Meaning this person's had to have been in public office before, either at state or federal level. Who the hell is that? I'm struggling to find any VP for him, if I can be quite honest. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be the biggest struggle because, and this is my theory on this. This VP candidate will be the most significant VP candidate ever, because we have to give everyone that fucking complains all the time something. And so he can't fuck this up.
People say AOC, and
she's not ready.
I don't know if she's not ready. I don't know if it necessarily strengthens the ticket. So
I'm saying she's not ready because I think she's got work to do in what she's doing, right? And I think, honestly, if I could be honest about this, where she is needed most is where she is. Where she will do the most good is where she is. If you take her out of where she is, who then replaces her?
That's a good point. I'd like to see her in the Senate. Senate replacing Chuck Schumer.
Right.
That's a good point.
We have to think about, and you and I have talked about this several years ago.
That's a
when
good point.
You talk about an elected official, you have to think about who fills that spot. Is there somebody ready to fill that spot? If the answer is yes, and you're in New York and I'm not, so I wouldn't know who that would be naturally, right? Then we should be promoting that person. That person should be on TV. But this is one thing that the Democrat Party fails year after year after year. Who's replacing these people? Gavin can't run for governor anymore. So he has no choice. He has to do something. Or he just goes back to the private. Yeah, or he just goes back to the private sector. Right? Whatever. Like, he doesn't. This is the thing too about Gavin. Gavin doesn't need to be the president. He'll be fine.
He'll be just fine. Yeah, he'll be.
But
he will literally be just fine.
who is replacing the persons that we have in office? We know Chuck Schumer needs to go. So there's obviously a natural person to fill that void, and I've always thought it was AOC. That's why I don't want her as VP. I need her in the Senate because I need guys like Chuck Schumer to get the fuck out.
That's a good point. It's not that she. I mean, it's yeah. That's a really good point. Dan, thanks for your patience. What's on your mind? Uncle Hippie. Dan, you there? Dan, going once. Dan, going twice. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very fair point. And again, from a political science perspective, friends, we've got to think about things strategically, right? It's where if you have a few bullets to use, then where are you going to use them? And the Senate, for people who don't know, the Senate is pivotal. The House, obviously, no doubt about that. But the Senate gives you control of judges. Gives you the ability to put judges in place up and down the judiciary. If I've been asked this question a lot, and I go back and forth. Like, would you rather have the House or would you rather have the Senate? And because of the fucking filibuster, listen, friends, I'll tell you this: the filibuster serves a purpose, but I'm done with it. I am done with it. I'll take my chances. I will take my chances without having the filibuster. Right? I see AOC as being someone who could have a long and distinguished career in the Senate until she decides whether she wants to or not run for the president. So I think she is becoming a very skilled politician. I've seen her mature in her time in office. I think she's got a tremendous future, whatever she decides to do. But I think she's best served the country as a voice in the Senate. From my perspective, we can disagree. That's why we talk about these kinds of things. But we've got to think about this big picture, right? Because don't forget, we've seen judges up and down the judiciary stepping up now and stopping some of the things that Trump has been doing, whether it be speech pressures on freedom of speech and or illegal firings, things like that. You're not going to get every decision. That's how the judiciary is supposed to work. But where are her skills best used? And I'm so fucking done with Chuck Schumer and his strongly worded letters. Elizabeth Warren also serves very well in the Senate. She should be the chair of the Finance Committee once we get the majority. That kind of stuff. Right. Because don't forget what her background is. She's gone, and although she's taken APAC money, so I'm struggling with that a little bit. But this is what I'm talking about. We gotta clean this fucking shit out. We gotta clean it out. I see my friend. I'm going to bring her up. Hi there. How are you?
Good. How are you? Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. 29 times 2.
Absolutely. 21 times 1.
Yeah.
For you.
Exactly. That's right. Thank you. Yes.
AOC is not going to win New York in the Senate. It's not going to happen.
You don't think so?
Nope.
You don't think so?
I know.
Why do you say that? Okay.
Because you're talking for her district, it works for her to be a representative or whatever because of who's in her district. But once you start needing the rest of the state, Staten Island, Long Island, upstate, which is very white, very Trump, she doesn't stand a chance flipping. She doesn't stand a chance getting the in-between people that are of the white race in New York State.
Yeah, the independents. Moderates.
She doesn't. Yeah. It's just not gonna. Nope, not right now. She's a woman. She is Hispanic. No, she's not gonna.
That's interesting, Toy. Like, so, would you prefer to see her in the Senate though, as opposed to being as the VP? If you had your choice,
I don't even think she stands a chance as VP, even if Gavin is the nominee.
Yeah, that was my question. Like she almost like a drain on the ticket.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so too. Sadly,
living here and seeing the landscape, the Trump
we had our best
are starting to disappear.
Kamala.
Yeah, exactly.
We had our best shot.
Are starting to disappear, but New York is going to redistrict, but unless they redistrict Staten Island and Long Island into New York City, like the Bronx and stuff like that, and then Rockland County and Orange County and all those into like Lower Westchester County, and the rest of upstate into like, I don't know, Albany County, I think it is, or whatever's up there. I don't know. It's hella far from me. Then I don't see it making a difference on a state level. You get what I'm saying? So that's why I don't think that she's going to make it on a state level just yet. It's soon, but not in 2028. That's too early.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment because there are parts of your state that are bright red. There really are.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's all of the southern Canada spots in New York too.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Exactly. It's right. It's right. It's South Canada. It's really what's going on.
It is. It's true. Yeah. It is. I mean, that's not far from me. I mean, at least Stefanik's district's just across the lake from me, so it's not that far. So that's a really fair point. I mean, eventually, but it's a really fair point. Like you said, she truly represents her district. She really does. Yeah.
And then we have a Democrat like Kirsten Gillibrand. Is she a Democrat? Do you get what I'm saying?
She's a conservative. Let's be real with the D in front of her name.
Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I know AOC is not going to take the state, because we have people like her and Schumer, like you said, with his strongly worded letters. It's just like, for fuck's sake, Schumer, go take a seat somewhere. Go, I don't know.
Agreed.
Like, go
are there
enjoy whatever few years you have left. I don't.
Are there any people in New York that you've heard about that would be that? I mean, obviously, we would know names by now. That might be somebody that could potentially win a statewide Senate race that you know of, because I haven't heard of anybody.
I
mean, I'd like to see Chuck primaried. Like, I want to see Schumer primaried, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like, they can't allow him to go another term. It's unacceptable to allow him to go another term, but it's better the devil you know in this situation than putting in somebody that who knows if they would win. You know what I mean? Against a Republican, whatever. So
can I throw out a name for you? Can I throw out a name?
Who?
Michael Bloomberg.
Oh, he'd win.
I mean, yeah, he would win. Yeah, I mean, better the devil you know. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or even I forget who my new representative is, but who would take his spot is. He took over for Jamal Bowman because the clan, whoever the crew didn't get behind him after the fire alarm thing.
After the fire alarm. Yeah, wow. See what I mean about the fucking purity test on the left?
Right.
That's the fucking purity test
for
bullshit.
The team, that man. He really
Jesus, I know he did.
He did what needed to be done, and he's from where I'm at. Anyways, so the guy that took over for him, that took his spot, that won his seat. I forget his name. I can't think at the moment. All I know is that I voted for him because it had to be him, or you know what I mean? That was my option.
Yeah, or somebody like Tom, the guy that took Santos' seat, Tom Suozzi. Is that his name? Tom Suozzi, maybe?
So. But they don't have name recognition. That's the problem. So you know what I mean? You need someone like a Bloomberg, like you said.
Yep. And like you said, the devil you know. I guess we'll see. Though it's a fair point about AOC. I mean, you're right. I mean, New York is a big ass state. We don't forget about that. We think about it in terms of New York City, but you get outside of New York City or the population centers in general. If you go to Buffalo, Buffalo's pretty red. But the rest of the state, is like it is.
New York City can't continue
red.
Carrying the entire state because of gentrification.
Agreed.
The gentrification is slowly changing the landscape of the city, so they're not going to be able to carry the entire state for much longer if it keeps up the way that it has been.
That's a very fair point. Thank you for your note, and thank you for your kind words. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye. That's a really, really good point, right? And that's a great example. And this is why I say, sadly, in our country, we're not yet ready to elect a woman. We had the best shot with Kamala Harris, the most qualified person to ever run for the presidency, full fucking stop. We had our chance and we didn't do it because of people on the left that were looking for perfection. Please stop doing that. Please stop doing that. Please stop
Imagine
doing that.
if, in addition to term limits, the DNC made everyone sign a pledge that after 3 terms in office, right? Like you get 3 terms, we'll give you 3 as a senator, right? Because
18,
the first one
18
doesn't
years.
really count because let's be honest, you're trying to figure shit out,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Agreed. Yep.
Now imagine if you had part of the pledge where they had to mentor somebody. Because if Chuck had spent the last 6 years mentoring AOC and taking her around New York and kind
But he
of,
doesn't go around. But he doesn't go around New York, though. I think that's the.
But this is where I'm going. Like, let's pretend that this thing exists, right? If you have to mentor people and take them around and do your actual fucking job and leave Washington, D.C., Johnny, I don't know what your problem is, but this is called a discussion. If you don't like the discussion, find the exit. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and I hear what you're saying, but I see this is another opportunity for the DNC, for the status quo, the machine to have, because a lot of Republicans who hold their House seats now, not the Senate, but the House seats, they ran unopposed. I want every single elected official in every party to be primaried every single election. That's
there's
democracy.
There's not enough people to do that. There aren't enough people willing to run for public office for 2 basic reasons. 1, it does not pay enough. I'm sorry, it just simply does not pay enough. And 2, why would you want this as a job? I mean, from a career perspective, like if some young person were to ask,
well, if you're going to take money, if you're going to take lobbyist money, then it's a really good gig.
But you and I don't believe in that.
Agreed. Exactly.
So
that's exactly right. It's exactly right. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I we're getting out over our skis because we're talking about a lot today about specifically here. But I think, I actually, Tiff just made a good comment in the mod section, in the mod chat, and I agree. We've got to have firepower in the House. There are leaders that we're seeing leaders develop. In the House and in the Senate, we're seeing people like, obviously Jasmine's name pops up. We see Jasmine a lot. We're seeing people like Melanie Stansberry. We're seeing like people that are sort of developing their careers. I think Max Frost has a bright future. You still can't forget that element. And not everybody has a desire to run for the presidency. That not everybody has that desire. And I know what you're saying about it doesn't pay enough because obviously it's incredibly expensive to live. You got to have a house. You got to have an apartment. You got to have an office in D.C. We want to outlaw insider trading. It should be criminal. You get caught doing it, go to fucking jail, whatever the penalty is. So that's part of where lobbyist money comes in. Don't forget, we did this exercise last week where 98+% of all money from the firearm and the NRA lobby goes to Republicans. They are buying seats to vote against responsible firearm legislation so they're comfortable with kids just dying in our country. So there's so many things, and this is why I said earlier, this is why we talked about this earlier. For the system to come down, I know it's going to harm people at the bottom because it always does, but it may not be a bad thing. And we probably deserve Trump. Never mind, probably. We did. We deserved it. We as a nation deserved it.
We earned it. By the way, somebody's been asking several times, so normally I don't look at the comments, but sometimes when people ask 5 or 6 times, because this isn't the first time I've seen this, people have asked about Mark Kelly repeatedly as a national candidate for P or VP.
Mark Kelly, the senator?
Yeah. Now, politics boils down to a few personal characteristics. Charisma is one of them. You have to be somewhat charismatic or be able to press the flesh, right? Mark Kelly is by far one of the most intelligent human beings we've ever had grace the Senate, but he's kind of like Joe Biden.
We did, and Joe Biden was elected in response to Trump.
Right. Mark Kelly's not a dramatic person, right? In any good or bad sense of the word. He's just he's a retired naval aviator, an astronaut, and an incredibly intelligent human being. Would he make a good vice president? Fucking 1000%. You know where
He
he
would.
could better serve if the big if is who then takes his seat in the Senate.
Yeah, in the Senate. Yeah,
He would
especially in
make
Arizona.
he would make
Especially
a
in Arizona.
great Secretary of Defense.
Be fantastic. But again, it's Arizona, such a pivotal Senate seat, right?
That's what right.
Yeah, something you said though, it kind of got me thinking about how, and I understand that politics is a game, right? There's a celebrity element connected to it. It takes $1 billion or more to run a campaign, but from a qualifications perspective, he would be the kind of person that you would want to be your president, right? That's sadly where our system has now that's what we've become. Again, goes back to the argument I just made about there's an opportunity here to tear the whole fucking thing down. You know, I'm not from an anarchistic perspective, just okay, these are all the gaps. These are the gaps that have been identified, although there's a little anarchy in there, maybe a little bit, maybe a lot of it. Anyway, there's so many things we've identified that are broken. Like, we can no longer talk about, well, you know, it might be a little bit weird if we expand the court. Fuck that, expand the fucking court. Well, you know, Citizens United, fuck that, overturn it. Stop accepting table scraps. What is the number one problem with our politics, guys? It's fucking money. It's money. Public interests and the lobbies. K Street in DC, if you don't know, that's where the lobbyists live in these beautiful fucking brownstones, and their job is to line the pockets of people who will take it. Right? Yeah, it's Republicans, but it's money. So that's what the problem is. Poe, I don't disagree with you, but we got to get money out of politics to make it an even playing field. Because if you could run on policy, if you could truly run on policy, Republicans wouldn't stand a chance. And they know it, which is why they are the biggest recipients for corporate dollars. The left wants to the right wants to tell you it's the left. It's not even fucking close. It's not even close. Not even close. So if you want to flip this thing, you want to flip it on its head, sign me up for that shit all day long. But that requires guts. That requires courage. That requires somebody to say, you know what? I'm going to have pressure. I'm going to have big ticket donors pressuring me not to do that. And you as an elected official have to stand there and say, no, I'm not doing it.
And again,
that's what we need. Yep.
I'm gonna bring something back up that I told you 2 years ago, and some people laughed at me. I still believe that the United States government needs to buy up a bunch of real estate, not in DC proper, because we don't want to continue to inflate the cost of living for those who are just normal residents. We want to ban K Street lobbying groups from snatching up more real estate and then renting like pennies on the dollar so that they can own senators, right? What we need to do is have corporate housing for members of Congress. And that means, like, listen, if you have a family, everybody gets the same size place. It doesn't matter how senior you are. You get a minimal space because most families don't stay in DC. But
love that.
As a part of their salary, everybody should have, and we should build. Most likely, it'd have to be like in Alexandria or someplace like that. And then we'd have to figure out transpo, but that's not hard. You know,
love that.
If you're single, you get a 1-bedroom apartment. If you're married and you've got kids, you've got a 2-bedroom apartment, and that just becomes a part of your salary.
Correct.
Right?
Assigned to your district, assigned to your Senate. I mean, yeah, agreed. Homogenous, nothing fancy.
Taxpayers won't mind because, you know, it would start to eliminate money. It's a really small incremental step to get money out of politics, because as Poe is saying in the comments, it's businesses that are getting in the way of politics. So if we could start at the one thing that we know, because listen, when AOC got to DC, she's like, I wish I could figure out how to get an apartment right away. But the amount of money that she had to come up with, she's like, I haven't even gotten a paycheck yet.
Exactly.
Like she had to borrow. She had to borrow money, right? This is why money in politics is bad. AOC had to borrow money from, I can't remember who, if from her uncle or whatever. Somebody in her family loaned her money to be able to move to Washington, D.C., but she still, I think, stayed in her office for the first couple months till she could find an apartment. Right? Let's eliminate that. Right? And then we all know that they basically eat in the cafeteria for free. Fine. Let them and their staff eat in the cafeteria for free. Who fucking cares?
I don't give a shit.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
as long as they're funding as long as they're funding school lunches.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of my point, right? Yeah. Is that these incremental things can be done. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, I don't know if you saw this. Did you see the new infant mortality rates for Missouri?
No. Are they off the chart?
9.5 per 1,000.
Number one in the country, probably.
Number one in the world.
Unbelievable. You see?
Now, this isn't people are like, why did Obi just pivot? This is about money and politics.
Exactly.
This is about, for decades now, the GOP has run the state of Missouri into the point to where their infant mortality rate, or is it Mississippi? Yeah, one of the M's, whatever. One of the fucking flyover states I'll never go
to. That tracks. Mississippi.
Yeah,
actually.
Mississippi.
Yep,
okay, sorry, Missourians, Missouriites, whatever the fuck you are. 9.5 out of 1,000, right? Because they have controlled your money. And when they control your money, they also end up controlling your mind. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, sorry, Sam. I don't mean to be mean, but fuck flyover states. That's all I have to say. Especially everything that's of a particular longitude and latitude. So basically,
I don't think Sam disagrees at her soul, to be honest.
Yeah.
She knows.
Yeah. Yeah. And
no,
listen,
but it's go ahead. Sorry.
People live where they live, and I'm being pedantic on purpose. It's for a fact. But
big word.
Money in politics is beyond the root of all evil. It has literally come to the point to where there's now a state where the state of emergency is whether or not babies make it out of a fucking hospital.
Correct.
Now.
Correct. And we are sending warships off the coast of Venezuela. That's America first.
Can you be pro-life and have 9.5 out of 1,000?
Nope.
Right. So again,
can't be.
When you hear
does Mississippi support does Mississippi support capital punishment? Do they support the death penalty there? I don't know. Probably. Can't be pro-life. You can't be pro-life if you support that.
Right. But it's the hypocrisy and the cruelty because it never ends.
That's exactly right.
Never ends.
And it never will.
It could end. It could if we would just get rid of Citizens United. Because unlike what Mitt Romney lied publicly, corporations are not people, my friend.
That's exactly right. Alec, it does not look like you're connecting, friend. You can request again if you want to come back up. It's at the end to me it doesn't solve all of our problems, but we got to root that out because we can't get progress while that is holding us back. And I don't know how we fix that until we get people who are courageous enough to say no to corporate money. Hello, Queen. How are you today? Queen Didi, how are you? Not there. Okay. So anyway, we've talked about a lot today, but this whole thing, and again, I want to really just thank Daniela again for giving a lot of us hope. And we're kind of in this really, I guess, interesting, for lack of a better term, because what we are witnessing, from my perspective, I'm not going to say it's Obi's perspective. It could be mine and mine alone, but we are literally watching the end of MAGA. This is it. Whether they want to believe it or not, we're witnessing it. We are witnessing it because there are telltale signs. You wouldn't be attempting to cheat to win elections if you felt confident with your policy. You wouldn't be lying to the American public about crime rates if you felt confident that you could address crime at its true source, which is red states. You wouldn't be lying to the American public about the big, beautiful piece of shit bill because it, yes, will kick nearly 16 million people off of their health care. And it doesn't matter whether or not you accept that or not. It's the reality. You've got a leader who is in obvious failing health. You've got a leader who is connected to one of the largest sexual predators in history. You've got people in that party attempting to create Ghislaine Maxwell as a victim. As a victim. You sane people, you evangelicals, you Bible thumpers, you pro-life cucks, claiming that you care about kids. And many of you now are saying, well, maybe Ghislaine wasn't that bad. You've been exposed. You've been exposed. We gave you a chance. We told you everything. I'm a humble guy, but you know what? I was fucking right about all of it. So was Obi. So were the people in this chat. We were right about all of it. We told you exactly what was going to happen. We told you he was going to be a dictator. We told you. We told you he was going to ignore the entire system, that he didn't give a flying fuck about our country. We told you. We told you he was going to arrest American citizens. You said no, only the criminal illegals. We told you. We told you all of it. Every single thing that we said was going to happen, he's done. Everything. And there's things that he's probably done that we don't even know about. The freedoms and liberties that you say that you care about, you think it only affects progressive libs who wear pink sweatshirts or pinko commies from California? Have you been paying attention? Have you been watching? Obi and I will be fine. We're older, oldish, white dudes. We can assimilate anywhere. But what about you? Have you accomplished anything in your education? Is your job going to be shipped off overseas? You voted for that fucking shit. You voted for it. You voted for it. We didn't. We didn't. The smartest chat on TikTok, for the most part, didn't either. You did. You did it. And we are here because 77 million Americans and apathetic people on the left decided that they were going to believe the lie. You're going to take the word of a pathological liar. You're going to take the word of a serial sexual assaulter. MAGA, here's a question for you. Since you always talk about Donald Trump going after people who've wronged him, why didn't he sue Katie Johnson and the Jane Doe in those cases for defamation? I know why. Do you? I know why, because he's afraid of fucking discovery. Why didn't he do that? If you claim that all these things are bullshit against him, why didn't he do it? Oh, I know, because he's a fucking predator. And you guys voted for that too. You've put yourself in a position now where you're going to take the word of Ghislaine Maxwell. In my little time that I spent in right-wing lives over the weekend, remember, I go there so you don't have to. You're welcome. That topic came up. That very topic came up to say, okay, well, you see, Ghislaine Maxwell came out and said Trump wasn't in the files. I'm like, you're going to take her word for it? And they're like, yes. I said, she also said that Bill Clinton wasn't either. She didn't say that. Yeah, she did. I read the transcript. And I went through the transcript with him. Yeah, she said that she didn't see Bill Clinton doing anything wrong either. Do you not believe that? Throw that shit in their fucking face. I'm serious. Just stuff it in their face. Unrelentingly. I'm not playing anymore. I don't. I mean, I do play, but that's a different conversation. I'm not playing with that shit anymore. These people, the 77 million that voted and the apathetic people on the left that didn't, are why we are in this position right now. It's not you. It's not Obi. It's not me. It's them. It literally is a we the people moment. The people who truly do care. Listen, I have never thought our country was the greatest on earth. Ever. I have never, ever thought that in my life for two principal reasons. To me, it really boils down to two principal reasons. Human rights and human rights. We don't respect them collectively in our country. And that is a broad brushstroke. Education, women's access to their body, medical, our health insurance system, you name it. Marginalized communities just getting kicked in the fucking teeth every single day. We can never be great. We will be great on those things until we fix those things. What I do think can be great is the fucking people. Are you willing to fight for it? Are you willing to potentially take up arms? I'm not calling for that. Are you willing to fight for it? What are you willing to do? I appreciate you coming in here every single day. And I mentioned in the chat over the weekend, I was feeling emotional. It's a rough time of the year for me. And I this is important to me, in case you can't tell. This is really, really important to me. I don't know. And I mentioned this in a text to Obi. Maybe this is my calling, this space. I don't mean to be, this is not about me, but this just may be the spot because I'm comfortable in this space. I like talking about this shit because it fucking matters. This shit matters. Kids are dying in the richest country in the world because they can't get food. Food, water, clean air, shelter. Get fucking angry and do something about it. It didn't have to be like this. It did not have to be like this. And from apathy and people who chose to believe a fucking lie is where we are. Never, friends, never relent on the truth. Never. Be humble if you make mistakes, accept it, be accountable, and do fucking better. Ugh. I need water.
Don't take this the wrong way, but I think I just got turned on a little bit.
It's just too important, you guys. It's just too important. Sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
And it is your calling. Now, listen, I will also say, because I love you and you're my brother, it annoys me because I think sometimes you take on too much. And it does impact your physical and mental health, and that's why it annoys me, right?
It does.
And people that don't know you, which is probably fucking 99% of everybody that's here, right? Because they haven't spent time with you. If you're fortunate enough to get to spend time with Steve, here's what you will realize. This is who he fucking is. When you meet him in person, if you're so fortunate to do so, there is no difference between what you are watching and listening to and what he says and does in real life. This is about character, right? Steve is not performative. I mean, Tax After Dark, yes, he'll get a little performative, right? But that's to keep the ladies entertained, if we're being quite honest, right? We do know that Steve does have a rather large following, and there are quite a few ladies who would like to, explore that following.
Okay.
No. I'm not done. I'm not done. And so, ladies, reach out. Give Steve a hand. If we all could clap in the chat because we want to give Steve a hand, and ladies, if you think he looks good in pink, let him know. Give him hearts, give him hand claps, whatever you can, because everybody every once in a while needs a hand up. I am unrelenting in this pursuit.
Seriously. Oh my God.
But just remember, as all of these hands are clapping in the chat right now, keep it up, ladies. Come on. Keep it up. Show the love to Steve. Because if you want to know what a good, decent adult male looks like, look at your screen right now. Look at your screen right now. Now, in addition to moonlight walks and puppies, Steve is also a fan of music by bands that play these things called instruments, because he is that old. He also likes good food. He likes taking rides on his motorcycle.
Is this like is this a dating app now? What the hell's going on here?
He is a fantastic father, a loving and caring human being that goes way above and beyond to help people out, even when he can't really afford to do it. He digs deep, and he gets stuff done for people. And this is important. And it's your fucking birthday, so take your fucking flowers and shut up.
Okay, fine.
Steve has done things for people on this app that only a handful of us know, and has helped people when they have come to him and asked. And I know we have the mutual aid channel, but every once in a while, what I would really like to see is I would like to see some mutual aid for Steve, because he does so much. He gives so much of himself that we need to applaud him. We need to say happy birthday to him. We need to give him a hand heart. And ladies, if you're in the mood to mingle, my brother is single. Now, the unfortunate thing is he lives in a state that doesn't exist, so there's going to be some tricky geography. And Google's not always your friend when it comes to maps, because trust me, I tried to look it up on a Google map and I had to zoom in so far that I had to get the Hubble telescope to find it.
It's true.
Because you do politely. You do live in the middle of fucking nowhere.
That is true. I do. I definitely do. Yes, I do.
So
I do live in the middle of nowhere.
Listen,
yes.
we're finally the same age, temporarily. Because this only happens for a small portion of the year, and then once again I will be older. Though we should admit that Uncle Rusty will always be older. DJ Tony will always be younger and way fucking better looking than any of us.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah.
Like, I'll stand next to anybody and take a picture, just not DJ Tony. As much as I love him, he makes me look so fucking horrible. It's like, what's the point?
Agreed.
We should just do selfies.
I agree with that.
Just him. And then cut and paste us with masks on. Now listen, one last thing, because I know you want to go.
Because I just love this so much.
I have to do this. I have to make you uncomfortable every once in a while. Because even though I could be really fucking annoying, you're having a little bit of fun right now. It's your birthday.
Yeah, I am.
You're gonna party like it's your birthday.
I appreciate it.
Do it, lady. So enjoy your birthday. I don't know if you've seen Chet or not. The Chet skits or Chit, whatever those skits are. That guy's fucking hilarious. Everybody,
I love you, my dude. Thanks a lot, pal.
I love you.
I appreciate
now, listen, I'm going to say we, and look at all these flowers you're getting, Brosif.
I know. They're all coming in now. I appreciate it. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Embarrassed American, thank you very much. It's your birthday as well. So hearts in the chat for our friend Embarrassed American, because people born on 9/1 are just naturally awesome. So I don't know what to tell you, but thank you all very, very much. I appreciate those words, Obi. He's kind of right about a lot of it, not about all the other stuff, but just about how this is just important, and I care about this shit. So anyway, I'm a little uncomfortable now in case you can't tell. Okay. Where was I? I have not seen any news. I was watching mods. Have we seen anything that have come down the pipe about an update to his schedule at all? Because again, according to the public schedule, he's got no appearances. Yes, reach out and give Steve a hand. You don't have to reach very far. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? I am really sorry. I'm really sorry. Just kidding. Okay, there is I do want to real quickly just recap a couple of things, because as we talked about many, many times in this space, right? When you have a president that does not know words, and the only method of communication he now has with his people are through Truth Social. So some of the things that he posted, he went into this like 40, thank you. He went to this like 40 Truth Social post fest. One of them is this. This was wild. I just want to read it. This was posted, I don't even know, this was either Saturday or yesterday. I used at the White House the most beautiful marble and stone available anywhere. Surfaces are very important to me as a builder. By the way, builder in caps. I don't know why he did that there. It's a strange spot to put it. Anyway, as everyone knows, I built many great buildings and things over the years. At the White House, I am very proud of the beautiful stonework we did in the Rose Garden, in this case using limestone plus. The Rose Garden is completed and far more beautiful than anyone ever had in mind when it was conceived of decades ago. 3 days ago, while admiring the stonework, I happened to notice a huge gash in the limestone that extended more than 25 yards long. It was deep and nasty. I started yelling, "Who did this? I want to find out now." And I didn't say this in a nice manner. I wondered, was it vandalism or was it stupidity? Lo and behold, because of the fact that we've installed the finest security equipment anywhere, they brought back the stupid people with their boss watching in sunglasses. It was a subcontractor that was installing heavy landscaping on a steel cart that was broken and tilting badly, with it rubbing hard against the soft, beautiful stone. I love and respect great workers and contractors, but something like this should never happen. Now, I'll replace the stone, charge the contractor, and never let that contractor work at the White House again. Make America great again. That's our president. That's our president. And you know what? He has convinced his followers to think that that's important. You guys, you fucking see that shitty ass job they did at the White House? All the cracks in the tile? What the fuck? Should we go there and protest? Fix the tile. The kids are starving in schools. Well, fuck the kids. You guys seen the tile? I read that and I was just like, I'd like to think that maybe it's not him, but it is him. It tracks. It tracks. He literally paved over paradise and put up a gauche fucking cafe. Gauche. I can't even believe I used that word. Gauche. That's how I described it. And you're using your public platform to communicate with your 37 million, I almost said 37 million thousand, Jess. I almost said your 37 million followers think it's okay to do that shit? What? He's concerned about tile? He's concerned about, he's going to pay his contractors? He doesn't pay his fucking contractors. We know that. What? Do you guys know that in the actual executive order that he issued regarding this is for you, MAGA, because I have the smartest chat in TikTok, because they know this. Do you know that all this saber rattling regarding the National Guard in the executive order that you got your micro dicks all semi-stiff for? Not even that. Limp for? They can't do anything. They're there for clerical and administrative support. That's it. They can't do anything. What do you think they can do? And you understand that there's this 29-day rule? I wasn't sure about this, and I was curious. Okay, so the National Guard troops deployed to D.C. are being paid, though there are legitimate concerns about timely payments. U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal has raised concern that the National Guard personnel that deployed to D.C. may face delays in receiving pay due to issues with paperwork and assignment procedures. The timing of their compensation remains uncertain. Related reporting notes that some troops with orders spanning less than 30 days may not receive their pay until after their orders end. Title 32, guardsmen are paid federally. Under Title 10, pay and allowances like basic allowance for housing may apply. Regardless, deployed members are owed pay, but the administrative processing is delaying their payments. In other words, they've shortened their term from 30 down to 29 days so they can skip out without having to pay their fucking housing. The D.C. National Guard are being paid, but some could experience significant delays due to how deployments are processed. Orders shorter than 30 days often result in pay being issued only after the duty is completed. So if it's 30, 29 days, they suspend their stay, and then they start the clock starts again. Has to be consecutive. That's how much your commander-in-chief thinks of the military. We're going to bring them in there. We're going to fucking saber rattle. They're going to pick up trash around D.C. or other cities. They're going to sit there with clipboards doing clerical shit, and they're not going to get paid. The fuck is wrong with you people? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, you do have TDS. Max, you do. You do have TDS. Why do you have TDS, Max? Have you picked up a book, Max? Why do you have TDS? I don't know why. Like, why? Why is it so difficult? Why is it so hard to accept the fact that you've been scammed and lied to for decades? Hi, Heather. Heather, how are you? Heather.
I'm coming.
It's okay.
I'm here. Hi. Sorry, I was sweeping up something and my phone was in the other room.
It's okay. What's on your mind?
Can you hear me?
I can. Yes.
I just, in listening to lives for all of this time and the back and forth between Mega and people like you and me, there's a huge intelligence gap.
You think?
Like somewhere being able to carry on a conversation has just gone out the window. Like people are listening not to learn, but to respond.
Agreed.
So they're not even hearing what you're saying, you know, like, especially I see it where they have to mute people because they won't shut up. And they'll mute them and say what they need to say, but that person that's been muted is still talking and not listening. And so that's why MAGA can't learn.
They refuse to.
They're
unwilling. They're unwilling
it's willful
to.
ignorance.
Yep.
It's just at this point, it's flat out willful ignorance.
Yep. You're right. I don't disagree with anything you said there.
It's crazy. And I work in retail, and somehow we've got to bridge this gap where people
Heather? Do we
learn how to communicate?
But do we? No, but think about it though. I mean, think about it. So, and I'm challenging your thought process. I mean, sure, from the highest level, we would agree that there are obviously more opportunities for communication. But why do we have to do anything? They're the ones that made the mistake, not us.
Yeah, I'm not saying we as in the Democrats. I'm saying as a country as a whole. Once we get Dipstick out of office, we've got
why do we have to? But why do we have to reach out to people who would rather burn books? Why do we have to? Why do we have to reach out to them? Why is that on us? That's not on us. That's on them.
I'm hoping that by that time they will be reaching out to us.
Okay,
because
then
it'll have slapped them in the face.
Maybe, but I have no tolerance for that. I'm not. We don't have to do it. I respect that, Heather. Like I said, if people are willing to do that, I'm not there, and I may not be. If I were 20 years younger, like 11, I might, but not now.
Yeah,
I'm not interested. It's because to me it's lip service, right? It's lip service.
Oh yeah, I'm not talking about trying to change MAGA's minds. Directly, I think they have to do it on their own. But there's so many factors that fall into why we've gotten where we are. It's amazing, and apathy is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. Thanks for jumping in today, Heather. Good to talk to you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate
no problem.
you. See you later. Everybody's going to have their different approaches to these things, right? Some people are saying, I'm willing to listen. You guys know me well enough. I'll talk to anybody. I don't care. I'll talk to anybody in this space. I mean, I've talked to people publicly. I've seen people with Trump's hat. There's a person that lives 2 miles from me that's got a big BLM or thugs sign on their door. They've got every possible piece of paraphernalia. I've walked by their house at times, and sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. I've had conversations with that person, and they're so far gone. They're not the typical person we speak here. They're not yelling and screaming. They're soft spoken. They're just strong in their beliefs. They just don't believe anything other than what's told to them in the cult. Anything. They just don't believe anything. And I'm like, I said, would you rather have like a conversation that's could we explore potentially some of the things that you believe? Because I believe the exact opposite, and I've got some proof. He's like, you don't have proof. You've got what your bias is. I said, well, isn't that what you have? He's like, well, I'm not biased. I'm like, you're not biased. You just described your bias. So if you're not biased, I am. And he's like, yeah, you are. I said, okay, well, I disagree. Have a good day. It was a respectful conversation, right? It wasn't what we saw from Sean earlier, the mouth breathers who can't add 2 + 2, who've never found the button in their life and they never will. Those people, they're just off. They think TikTok is what they've done with TikTok is they actually think that people want to hear what they have to say. People don't, right? People don't. And listen, I'm not everybody's flavor. You can come in here, you can agree with me, you can disagree with me. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to shoot fucking straight. But this is not about anything more than we got to have these conversations, right? We have to have these conversations. We have to stay informed of the news. We have to remind people that he's all over the Epstein files. We have to remind people that he's destroying our democracy. That's our job. Okay? That's our job. I'm not interested in hand-holding them through this process anymore. I'm not. I will still go into right-wing spaces, not to change the mind of anybody that I'm in the process of talking to. It's for people listening, right? Because sometimes I'll end up in a live. It could be in the evening time, right? And sometimes that person may not be able to catch our show. They might be at work. They may not be available 8 to noon, Monday through Friday. The only time they can catch me might be on a weekend or whatever that might be. But again, guys, we've got to fucking get angry. We've got to get angry. We've got to get motivated. We've got to stop being apathetic. We got to stop waiting. We got to stop waiting. So again, I want to go back to want to thank Daniela for being here. I want to go back to something that she talked about. We are at the end of this, right? Whether it's through natural causes, so to speak, or something else, right? It's not normal for a vice president to be putting out a campaign video 8 months into his tenure as VP. That's not normal. That's just not normal. Find me another example of somebody doing that. That is just not normal. Okay? It's not. It's just not. They know something. They are keeping something from the American public by design because they know, and again, to Danielle's point, the bravado, the alpha, the machismo, the tough guy, that's the whole game for Trump. I am invincible. I am your redeemer. Think about all the visuals of him on the back of a fucking pterodactyl, like of all things to use. That's who he is. That's his persona. That's how MAGA sees him. They see him as the second coming. Whatever that might be. That's what they see. That's what they want to see. That's what they've been told they should see. That is not J.D. Vance. Not in any regard. Not in any regard. That is not him. It's not Trump either. But the public perception of Trump, based on the media machine behind him, has created that. So now they're stuck. And you notice they're getting angrier and angrier and angrier. And it's not, don't forget, they won the election. It's not because of us. It's because of them. But you know what? I'm going to keep the pressure on. I am going to keep the fucking pressure on. I'm going to keep reminding them that this is what they signed up for. So I'm going to play you a little recap of all. Thank you very much. Thanks, Hector. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, Hector. You're awesome. Thank you, dude. Fucking love Hector. Out there doing the work. Another, Hector Talks. We talk about creators that we're going to promote. Love Hector. He's out there doing the fucking work too. Doing the shit, calling the stuff out. He's a lot more soft-spoken than me. He's a lot more chill. I learned from you, dude. So thank you for doing what you do. Here's a supercut of every single time within the past, I don't know, year or plus of what Trump has said about Trump and the administration and people connected to it has said about Epstein. Here you go. Hold on a second. Let me start from scratch.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
Yes, I would.
Release the list. Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Will you work with
This is Marsha Blackburn interviewing Kash Patel for his confirmation hearing
me
in January of this year.
on this issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings?
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children going forward.
Just last week.
Again, Marsha Blackburn now, after confirming Kash Patel based on what he told her that he was willing to do in regards to the e-files. This is February, her response.
The president's excellent pick for FBI Director Kash Patel vowed to work with me in releasing the Epstein records and breaking apart the trafficking rings that harm countless women and children across our country.
The DOJ may be releasing,
And this is part of that famous interview that Pam Bondi went on. This is in February on Fox News.
the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. All this evidence is sitting in the Southern
Pam, March 2025.
District of New York.
Yeah.
So based on that, I gave them the deadline, Friday at 8, a truckload of evidence arrived. It's now in the possession of the FBI. Kash is going to get me and himself really a detailed report as to why all these documents and evidence had been withheld. It's a new administration and everything's going to come out to the public. The public has a right to know. Americans have a right to know.
I know the Attorney General has committed.
This is May of 2025. This is Kara Lyon. And no, she's not wearing her cross in this clip.
Into releasing those files. I would defer you to the Department of Justice on her timeline, but when she has made a promise in the past, she has kept it, and I'm certain that she will in this case as well.
Welcome back.
This is July 2025 as the story is being reported because now they're going to announce what Pam Bondi said when she released her report.
About 20 minutes to the top of the hour. Case closed. The Justice Department revealing Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide and insists there is no secret client list out there.
Draw your own conclusions, friends, right? Draw your own conclusions. Think about it, MAGA. Just think about it for a second. You were promised this. And your way of trying to wiggle your way out of it is attempting to take the word of a woman who went to jail for conspiracy to conceal sexual violence against children and participation in similar violence against children. And now you want to take her word for it because she said she didn't see Donald Trump do anything wrong. She also said the same thing about Bill Clinton. Don't believe me, read the transcript. I'd like you to think about that for a second. You same people, you pathetic hypocrites who say you care about kids, you literally say you care about children, and you celebrate SNAP benefits being cut, which starve children. Your states have failing schools. Your states have failing public health programs. Your states are broke. And yet you care about children so much so that you will support Ghislaine Maxwell being pardoned. You know she will. You know you'll support it. You know you will. You know you will. That's where we are. I am absolutely not going to stop. I am not going to stop. I'm going to be in your fucking shit every day. I am not going to stop. This is too important because if we don't continue to talk about it, who will? You think the legacy media is going to do it? They aren't. It's going to take independent journalists. It's going to take people who are willing to call it out. I'm not beholden to anybody. I don't give a fuck who you are. I expect accountability. I demand it. I'm done with this bullshit. When Trump passes, because I think we're heading in that particular direction, okay? There will be an unbelievable moment in our society. And people are going to have to ask themselves a question, a big question. MAGA, what will your response be? Are you going to look for another leader? Are you going to look for someone else to continue to lie to you because of how pathetic you have been for the last 10, or in many cases, most of your lives? What are you going to do? Who are you going to blame? Who are you going to blame? Are you going to hide? Are you going to show us firsthand the cowards that you are? Like I said, I will talk to anybody, but I'm going to embarrass you. I'm going to diminish you. I'm going to belittle you. I'm going to condescend you. I'm going to blame you for putting our country in the position that it's in because you voted for it. And we, on the collective in our country, we deserve this. We earned it. We earned it. We earned Donald Trump being back in the White House. We earned it. It's on us. You can believe Rockland County. You can talk about conspiracy theories all you want to. Go ahead. We earned it. All of us did. We collectively earned it. I know most of you didn't vote for him. I know that. I get it. I understand that. But you know what I mean. We earned it. So what are we going to do in response? I want to thank everybody for your very kind wishes today. I really, really appreciate that. It's been a great day. I had an amazing time with my kids last night. Went to the fair, had fair food. It was incredible. We were singing Frozen. There was myself and my three kids and my boys' partners were there as well. And all of us were singing songs from Frozen up on top of the Ferris wheel. And it was fucking great. My heart was filled up. It fueled me. It gave me motivation. And I was so ready to do this show today. And I'm like, I'm ready. Let's fucking go. It's September 1st, a new month. We got Congress coming back in session. We've got a victim statement press conference that's scheduled for Wednesday of this week, co-sponsored by Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna. Victims of this violence against them. Victims. A bipartisan bill putting pressure on Congress to fucking release the information because the administration under Donald Trump has been lying to you, MAGA. Lying to you at every single turn. We'll expose it, we'll call it out, and then we'll fucking call it out again. Who are we going to raid, friends? I heard Victoria might be live. Is that true? Does anybody know who might be live right now? I'm not sure. Listen, come back tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, because I'm sure there'll be some other lie that we'll cover, some other conspiracy. Is Danny live? I think Danny's live. Yes, everybody go raid Danny. Tell her we said, again, another warrior out there fighting the fight, calling truth to power. Please go support Danny. Please go support all of your creators who are willing to do this shit and talk about it. People think that we make tons of money. We're crowdfunded, you guys. We're crowdfunded here. I appreciate your generosity and your kindness every single day. I'm not getting paid by the DNC. I don't do it for that. I appreciate your support. If you appreciate what we do, you know how to support us. Thank you all, guys. Go say hi.